Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods 97.3, The Fan. You can tell I've gone back to Death Wish coffee. My heart is about to explode out of my chest this morning. I'm shot out of a cannon. And I've been up since 2 o'clock, but I feel fantastic. Thank you, Death Wish. Simply the best. Great to be here, Ben and Woods 97.3, The Fan. What a big show today. I'll be honest with you. It's a weird show. I'll just say it out of the chute. This morning I was making my Death Wish coffee. I looked up at the TV. My beloved wife puts the Ben and Woods program up. It's every morning I walk out and I go, what do we have coming up on the show tomorrow? Because I never know until I see it. And so I go, oh yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah, it's a weird one. I'm excited. We like to keep it weird here on Ben and Woods this morning. Obviously, a lot to talk about in the baseball world, but we do some intros here with a fresh face that you may not know here on the Ben and Woods program. I'm Woodsy. That's Paulie. He's the executive producer. You know him. Good morning, Paulie. I'm great. How are you?
Great. I woke up early as well.
To my left is Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. Is there a Death Wish decaf?
No, there's not a Death Wish decaf.
Be able to try at some point.
Mama.
Life Wish. It's
Yes.
Death Wish decaf.
That's just tea. I think that's just green tea. And then to my right is our buddy Patrick Daly, who has he won the Ben and Woods co-host for a day at the Ben and Woods Open. Great job, Patrick. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, guys. I'm just thrilled to be here. Really appreciate the invite, and I just want to know where the sun is.
Yeah, the sun. Well, you won't see the sun for a while,
Oh,
and
boy.
it's going to be gray for a while. It's going to look like Birmingham, England, for a while, and then by the time we're out of here, buddy, it will break free. Now, again, you won co-host for the day. You get to do whatever you want. So if you can stay, you can sit back, you can do whatever you want. This is your fun day, but we certainly appreciate your bid at the Ben and Woods Open. You won the Ben and Woods basket, and in that basket was co-host for a day. So I've known Patrick a long time, had the pleasure of hanging out with him and his lovely wife, Angie. My wife is obsessed with your wife. You guys are great, great people. We've had such a good time. Now, Patrick sits in the fancy seats down there at Petco Park, so he's seen some S. He has seen and heard some S down there. It's such a fun day.
Wait. We have different viewpoints on what co-host for the day means.
Yeah.
You're saying it's his fun day.
It's his fun day.
He can do whatever he wants.
Right.
I was anticipating just letting Patrick do most of the work.
He can do that too.
And we sit back and do what we want while Patrick sets the menu and
No, we only do that to
take on Patrick. Don't do this. He can interview our guests, and we're just kind of here just making sure everything, stays on the rails.
Like a hall monitor.
Today, yeah, exactly.
Just relax. Take the morning
Yeah.
off. I got this.
We only do that to our enemies. People we don't like, we're like, oh, you think you can do it? Well, go ahead, bud. It's all yours.
It's so easy.
Patrick has never said that. So, Patrick's in today hanging out. We'll be talking some Padres baseball, certainly. And obviously, it's a huge day. Very exciting finish to the season. We have plenty of time to talk baseball until then. What happened to that shirt right there is what I want to know.
I don't think I folded it properly in the drawer, so it's
Oh, wow.
When you, all right, so
I just washed it. I washed it like 2 days ago, and I put it in the drawer.
That's what I was going to say.
Put it in the drawer, but somehow, when I pulled
looks
it out
clean.
in the dark this morning, I didn't realize it was like so wrinkly.
When you fold your clothes, do you just wad them up in a ball and jam them in a drawer?
I try not to, but remember,
Lay it on me.
So last night, remember we talked in our gold member stream that we're doing an October clean out at our house.
The Higgins family, yeah.
Because all drawers are overstuffed. We don't have enough room for everything. So doing a big clean out, and part of that is I don't have enough closet/dresser space for all my clothes. So I have my T-shirt drawer. I have some hanging, and then I have some in the drawer. This was a drawer. And it's like I'm trying to have to cram everything in just to get
shove it in
to get it to
hang
fit.
everything.
You hang
everything. I don't have enough closet
The
space
only
to hang
shirts
everything.
that go in a drawer, I don't leave the house. They're like sleep shirts or something. I don't leave the house in them. Everything hangs.
What is a sleep shirt? Oh, shirts you sleep
Like
in.
lounge shirt.
Shirts you
lounge
sleep
around
in.
the house.
I thought you meant like a long
Oh no, just a T-shirt.
with mom in her kerchief and Paul in his cap.
Little house on the
Yeah,
prairie.
Little House on the Prairie long. Darling, where's my flannel? It's
Grandpa
long.
Joe.
Yeah, Grandpa Joe.
T-shirts, dress shirts, jackets, sweatshirts, pants. Everything gets hung.
Mine too. I don't have one. I do. The only shirts that I have folded are like old baseball jerseys that from like teams I was on. That's
I have a plastic bin full of Padres related like fantasy camp
Merch.
workout shirts, merch, whatever. That all just goes in one big like Padres bucket. Everything gets hung.
Drew wants to know who's the dude. That's Patrick Daly. We just said this. We just introduced this. I can't introduce him. I can't introduce him every 30 seconds. Patrick is he won our co-host for the day, and he's going to be hanging out with us today for the entirety of the show. I thought to myself, it looks clean. It doesn't look dirty. It's not, stained or anything.
No, it's definitely clean. It just came out of the laundry 2 days ago.
It's that feeling, though. You ever go and you buy a new shirt? And you're like, man, I bought this shirt so I could wear it tonight, but it has the two little creases in it. Hannah got me
new.
It's too new. Hannah got me so our anniversary was over the weekend, and it was copper and wool was the anniversary, copper or wool. So she got me a couple of new sweaters and merino wool, and it's really, really nice. So I put it on to wear it to dinner, but it had the two little creases. So I had to shove it in the dryer, dry it out,
fluff it out.
It worked, yeah.
Now, don't you have the same problem I do, and I assume Paulie does, is that you have to get dressed pretty much in the dark?
No.
Oh, that's right, because Hannah's already up.
Hannah's been up. She's been up 2 hours.
Well, what about you? Megan doesn't get up before you. She's got to sleep a little bit more.
Yeah. Tuesdays and Wednesdays she gets up as I'm leaving, so I am still getting dressed.
See,
But
I'm creeping around.
I've gotten used to it.
In the dark and
I
trying
use my
to
phone.
like
if I need
look.
to.
Yeah, sometimes I'll look at my phone, but I'm not necessarily looking for wrinkly creases. I'm just making sure the colors sort of match with what I'm wearing.
I got an idea for you, and this is just forward thinking here. So when you get home from work, Channel 10 the night before,
Right, when it's all dark and everyone's asleep.
Everyone's asleep
Yeah,
then?
usually.
Okay. All right. Before you leave for work.
The day before.
Yeah, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock in the afternoon.
The
Set out my
afternoon.
clothes for tomorrow.
Set out your clothes. Put them in the bathroom. Right? You have a little area. Put them. You have a separate bathroom off your bedroom.
Yep.
Put them in the bathroom, and then you get to go and you get to get dressed at your leisure. I'm not going to get dressed in the dark.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
wake
tough to
somebody
have
up.
that much forethought too. While you're getting dressed for one job, also laying out the clothes for the next day.
Easy
so.
peasy.
That's
Easy
what
peasy.
You're right, though.
last night. I did the same thing. I'm like, put them in the bathroom, close the bathroom
Close the bathroom door.
so I don't wake up the pugs or
The
or
pugs.
Angie.
If you woke up Angie, now I know Angie. She'll slit your throat.
Yeah.
Like she would. She seems like an early bird though to me.
No, I mean she is because she has to.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we could sleep till 9 o'clock every morning, that would be
You would.
great. Yeah, but she has to get up early. Start the pugs pretty much dictate when we get up.
Now, how many pugs do you have?
We have 5.
I thought kids were a lot of work. The pugs seem to be either he's doing too much with his pugs, or we're not doing enough with our kids, because it does seem like a tremendous.
We
amount of work.
spoil them. They're our kids.
Yeah.
You always hear that, but we let them do what they want, and we're not like train them how to sit or anything. We just let them be.
It's free reign.
themselves. That's it.
Yeah, free reign in the house for.
It's cool, but it also comes with
Comes
the
with a
issues.
price. Comes with a price.
So it's fun.
It absolutely.
They're good dogs.
Benny, just have a little bit of forethought, and then, see, Brandon says you don't have to look good when you're on the radio.
It used to be. Now we have this whole YouTube stream, and everyone can see what I'm wearing. It used to be. Radio, really, when I was getting into the business, was filled with the biggest slobs you will ever encounter in any line of work.
Nope. I mean, like
sweatpants, flip flops, and like
freebie
a stained
t-shirts.
freebie
Yeah,
t-shirt.
that was the radio uniform.
flip flops,
Yeah.
like shorts,
Yeah.
and a wrinkly. Like
This
a
is-
wrinkled ass
what
shirt.
This is how.
What
this
shirt
is
is it?
what I
Goat
wear.
Hill?
This is my Goat Hill member, I believe, from our club championship
I-
from earlier this
if
summer.
you guys knew how much thigh I am staring at right now. I mean, like, if you knew how much thigh that I'm staring at this morning here on Bed and Woods.
Wow.
Shorts are creeping up.
It's the
Look at that.
old dolphin
chubbies.
shorts right
Yeah,
there.
dude. Damn. The unit over there, too. Just, man.
That's my better half. It's my lower half. Show it off.
Your lower half could be in... Your lower half should be in... They should cut, like, real buff guys and meld it together with your lower half. You blend the coloring. Like, take a really fit guy, cut you off there. Nothing wrong with your upper half, but you know what I'm saying. Your lower half is elite.
A lot of dudes jealous of Ben's legs.
There's a lot of dudes jealous. And a lot of women would just like to bite right through those calves. Just like a big old turkey leg at the fair. Man, so good, Benji. So, yeah, I don't even know where we're going to go today. We do have several guests. Ben will set the menu for us next. But listen, huge series. It starts tonight.
I heard something about it.
One game at a time.
Yeah, that's all you can do. And tonight is game 1. You win game 1, then game 2 is very meaningful. And you win game 2, then game 3 is insanely important.
Look at those legs.
All right, we will set the menu. Maybe Patrick will set the menu when we come back. We'll see how much work we can get him to do this morning.
That's true.
It is Ben. It is Woods. It is Paul. It is Patrick. We are here until 10 o'clock today. We'll set the menu next after Kelly's traffic. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
This is exactly what we need right here. The song, Good Vibrations, right?
Turn it up, Paulie. Right
Crank
here.
it, Paulie.
I'm picking up good vibrations.
Feel it? You know what that instrument's called in the background?
Theremin.
Oh, I love it. I want to play it so bad. I got a chance to play it once. It was not easy.
I think we've all got some excitation this morning.
I'm very excited.
The Padres magic number update. Pretty easy one today.
Yeah.
It remains at 1 as the Padres, Mets, and Braves did not play yesterday. So one win by the Padres tonight would clinch a National League wild card at the worst and a playoff berth in 2024.
Okay.
The Padres did pick up a half game on the Arizona Diamondbacks last night, who lost to the San Francisco Giants at Chase Field. Matt Chapman, a little inside the park home run. 6-3 win for the Giants last night. So the Mets now have the second wild card spot to themselves, 3 games behind the Padres. The Diamondbacks fall 3.5 games behind the Padres. And then the another game and a half to the Atlanta Braves, who open a huge series at home tonight against the New York Mets. 3 games, critical that they win that series to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Who do we all look at as the odd man out now? Because out of the there's 3 spots for 4 teams. I'll tell you, man, the more I see of the Arizona Diamondbacks, the more I really hope they make it. And the more I see of the New York Mets, the more I really hope they don't.
So the Mets are playing the best out of everybody left.
No question.
However, they have the toughest week of any team. They're on the road against Atlanta and Milwaukee. 2 playoff contenders. Milwaukee's already in. The Braves.
So that doesn't make it necessarily tough.
Not necessarily.
'Cause they're
Depends
not
on
really
who's resting and
playing
who's
for
clinched
much.
anything. But they are on the road against good teams. The Braves are at home against the Mets and the Royals, who also are fighting for a playoff spot. The Braves are at least at home, and obviously the Diamondbacks are home against the Giants and the Padres. Now with 5 games remaining in their season. So that's what's left for the opponents.
It sure feels like the Braves are the one team that's really like
They're on life
they're
support.
looking up.
But, last year they swept the Mets, remember the last 3 to win that, or no, 2 years ago they swept the Mets the last 3. That's what knocked the Mets into that series against the Padres.
Against the Padres, yeah.
That they then eliminated them in the wild card round.
They almost certainly need to win like 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
against the Mets.
they're pretty much required to at least win the series. That would get them within a game and give them the tiebreaker, so they'd have a shot going into the last weekend. They're looking for a sweep, though, just like the Padres are looking for a sweep of the Dodgers this week. 2 keeps them alive, but puts them not in control of their own destiny, just like the Padres wouldn't be if they only took 2 out of 3.
Well, the more we watch, the more it and again, things can change. Don't it's not set in stone, but the home playoff series that the San Diego Padres would get. My question is, who do you want? Based on what I watched last night, I'll take my chances against the Diamondbacks. Our co-host Patrick, co-host for a day. You've seen a lot of teams roll through Petco Park this year. You know how these teams are playing. Who would you rather see?
I mean, right now, just how they're playing, the Diamondbacks for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they don't scare me as much as they did 2 weeks ago.
I guess you qualify this whole conversation with, I'd rather win division and get a bus.
Of course. I think that goes unspoken and without said.
There are people out there that would rather keep playing.
I saw someone.
I see the argument from both sides. I think you always take the rest.
Somebody on Twitter just posted something from Facebook that said, we just need to win 1 game this week and then let's start resting players. And I went, oh boy, that's an interesting strategy. That is not the strategy that I would employ myself.
You don't rest until...
Well, you don't rest until it's clinched.
Win or lose, it does not change your positioning.
I still had guys in my mentions, and I love these guys, and we have a lot of baseball conversations in-game almost every night. They hit me up, what do you think about this move or that? And they said, I don't know, man, we're up 4. It was on Saturday night. We're up 4. You got to go to Alec Jacob here. And I go, why would you F around even a little bit when you haven't clinched anything? You have not clinched. You clinch, fine. And then you want to start being a little bit more cautious about how you use guys. But, obviously you want to try to win the division, I think, in my opinion. Now, that being said, you also don't go badass crazy trying to win the division, pitching Tanner Scott 5 days in a row or something ridiculous.
You get to Sunday, and win or lose, you're locked in. You know where you're playing. You know who you're playing. You know what round and all that.
Then let's talk.
I don't want to see anybody in the lineup on Sunday then. Give them one extra day.
Yeah.
Get ready for a 3-game series and play like there's no tomorrow.
Let's ask the professor.
So with that in mind, coming up in our next segment, when we start our look ahead to the Dodgers series, I have come up with kind of the best and worst case scenarios this week for the Padres. And when I say worst case scenario, I'm kind of talking realistic worst case scenario, because even though they haven't clinched a playoff spot, I find it very hard to figure out how they could still miss the playoffs. Even if they lost all 6 games this week, I still have the Padres as like 97% chance to get in the playoffs, even if they went 0-6, because there would be so many other games that would need to go exactly right. Like 10 of 11 games would have to fall exactly wrong, plus 6 losses for the Padres for them not to get into the playoffs. So I kind of, threw out, even though it does exist in the universe somewhere, and if it does, we'll live on that for decades and decades, as the Padres truly are the most cursed team in the history of professional sports if they don't make the playoffs this year. And you know what? Well, we'll just enjoy that and lean into it if that actually does happen. Otherwise, I've kind of got the realistic best and worst case scenarios for you this week for the San Diego Padres, and we can go through those coming up in our next segment, where we usually do our Padres wrap-up, but no game yesterday, so a little more forward thinking this week. 7 o'clock hour, we will have Take on Woods at 7:10. There was a pretty decent Monday Night Football game. It wasn't the one I expected. It was the other one. The Commanders and the Bengals last night was a really good one. Did you watch any of that? That's a no.
I'm not even going to dignify.
That's a no.
I'm not even going to dignify.
We had it on Channel 10
with a
so
response.
I kind of had it on at
you
work
out
because
of
it
your
was really good last night.
And we're going to talk about that? No.
Briefly.
Yeah.
We couldn't just briefly address it in 4
Who won?
hours. Commanders.
They did.
They did. Jaden Daniels was really good. Really good last night.
That's great.
There's also a really nice moment in the other game. Don't put it on the rundown, Paulie, if he's going to have this kind of reaction when I just mentioned it. Really.
Maybe I did that
honestly.
because I knew it'd get such a reaction.
Just staring daggers at my co-host here.
Don't do this at 7:20, and then we've got some guests today, including at 7:35.
All right, this is when I said it was going to be a little weird. Weird. It's
well,
weird.
I mean,
it's
we've
cool.
got former Major League Baseball player and now analyst for TBS, Jeff Francoeur, who's going to be on. Padres-Dodgers is actually a national TBS game tonight. I think it's also available locally on Padres.tv with Don and Mudd, I'm pretty sure.
I hope so.
But we've got Jeff Francoeur joining us tonight at 7:35. In our 8 o'clock hour, it is Tuesday. It's an Incorporator Tuesday, the last of the regular season.
Oh, man.
Jesse Agler will be with us at 8:35. Patrick, have you come up with an Incorporator word for Jesse yet? You've got 2 hours.
That's your assignment.
That
You
is
got
my
2 hours.
assignment.
Yeah.
All right.
Start thinking, co-host for the day.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
That's
Good.
definitely a co-host for the day responsibility is coming up
100%.
with the Incorporator word for Jesse Agler to wrap up the regular season. Rival report at 9 o'clock, and then really going outside the box for the Ben and Woods program.
Mrs. Woods is elated
At
about our
9:35.
9:35.
I was going to be on Zoom, too. She's going to really like that.
She's elated.
Did she go to high school with our 9:35 guest?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. She never mentioned that, but
she did go to LCC.
she
correct?
did. No
Yes.
one loves.
And they're around the same age, so I would think that maybe they crossed paths.
No one loves an Olympian more than Mrs. Woods.
Well,
no
you
one.
know, on this show, we like to have people who are equal to our own athletic prowess. So we'll be joined by Chase Budinger, the former NBA player turned U.S. Olympic beach volleyball star. They are going to actually be in town at Viejas Arena for a beach volleyball event. But fascinating story where you're at the top of, all the way to the top of one profession in the NBA, and then you decide, you know what? Let's go pro in another sport a year later in life and become a beach volleyball star and go to the Olympics.
Olympics, yes.
And
It's
represent Team USA in Paris. Just what, a month and a half ago he was there. So we're going to check in with him on a little off day today, just get his story and how the Olympics went for him and why he's coming to San Diego coming up at 9:35. And if he knew Hannah back in high school.
How old is Chase Budinger?
So I just looked it up. He is 36. graduated from LCC in
Should absolutely
06,
know.
So I think they probably did go to school together.
Did they date in high school and she didn't tell you?
Well,
Is it possible?
nothing would surprise me. I found out on this show that she French kissed Robbie Erlin. I found that out on the show right here. I knew there was a date. I did not know about a French kiss because her husband, father of her children, didn't get a French kiss for like 3 weeks. So very weird what you might find out.
But that's Big Game Bob.
That's Big Game Bob.
Right.
Big Game Bob. Bald, big game.
So we'll see if
Bald
there's any
Game Bob.
old Hannah Nancaro stories from Chase Budinger.
He's like, hey, Chase, you know my wife Hannah? He's like, oh, yeah. She is a good kisser. Whew, what a tomcat. Whew. Eek. Whew. How
And
could I forget?
and that will lead us to 10 o'clock. We'll turn things over to Annie and Elston. So that's the menu. It is set. We will come back. We'll look ahead to the Dodgers series, and I've got my scenarios for you. Best and worst case for the Padres this week. Coming up next with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. MLB.com's Mike Petriello was ranking the all-time most impactful Dodgers-Padres series, and brings up the one that I was kind of thinking of last night, and that is the last 3 games of the 1996 season when the Padres were 2 games behind the Dodgers going into the final 3, had to sweep the final weekend at Qualcomm Stadium, and did, getting the big Chris Gwynn 2-run double in the 11th inning of a scoreless game to win the division title on the last day of the season.
So, Paulie, crank up the fireplace because this is pre me being here. I'm just I'm not even a twinkle in your young eye, Ben. At that point, you were in college.
I was in college.
Did you come back for games at all?
Let's see, no, because it was right early in the semester, so I just started, and I remember watching them on television. But the Padres hadn't been to the playoffs since the 1984 season when I went to the World Series. The only time they had been to the playoffs in franchise history at that point.
So you were 9 years old when they went to the playoff,
yes,
the World Series.
And I did go to playoff games and then one of the World Series games that year.
And our co-host for the day, Patrick, you grew up in Oceanside. Were you at any of those Padres-Dodger games in '96?
I'm sure I was.
Yeah.
I don't remember a
Not
whole
off the
lot,
top of your head.
but there's been, I mean, we used to go all the time, so I'm sure I was at one of them.
I did come back and go to one of the playoff games in '96 against the Cardinals. They got swept in 3 in that series.
So that
was
did
a
not go
quick
well.
exit that year for their return to the playoffs. But to me, that was the most impactful series against the Dodgers. Will this one eclipse it this week? It's not the last 3 games of the season, but certainly a huge 3 games to wrap up. Now, the Dodgers did go to the playoffs. They got the wild card, so it wasn't like one team was in, one team was out
you
in
didn't knock them out.
1996. So in that sense, this year is going to be kind of the same, where both teams are going to probably be in the playoffs, but you're still battling for a division title. And that back then, there was really no difference between the wild card and the division. You still had to play in the first round. It was still the best of 5 series. This year, though, a bye could be on the line.
Dodger Stadium, by the way, not at Qualcomm.
That one was a Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
That's right. They played 2 series, actually, in the end of the year. End
of the year in Dodger Stadium.
One was at Qualcomm, and then one was at Dodger Stadium.
Yep.
But the Padres did nip them at the wire to win the division.
That is bananas. Chris says, guess who came out for 3 straight days to close out the game? I have a decent guess on who it is.
Number 51.
Number 51, Trevor Hoffman. 3 straight days. Wow.
The GOAT.
The GOAT. Love him. Love him so much. All right, yeah, I mean, the playoffs have been so few and far between that, it's a pretty special thing when your team makes it in there. And, you look at what these guys got going right now. This is a really, really, really big one. It's a really big week. And I said it last night. We did our gold member stream last night. And honestly, Edgar asked a question I was just going to. Who has more pressure right now? Not us. Not us. Not even a long stretch. I mean, there's no pressure on the San Diego Padres right now to win.
I wouldn't say there's no pressure because their goal is to win the division.
Sure, but yes.
You're going to play, naturally, you're going to play a little tighter in late September and, of course, in October. But told you guys last night, when you're playing with house money, nobody thought the Padres would be here.
Nobody, man.
Nobody.
And
everybody in this room, nobody thought that. And that gives you a sense of calmness, I think.
I'll tell you who really didn't think that these games would matter one bit. The LA Dodgers and their fans. I can promise you, this is not one that they looked to in April and said, oh, these are going to be some bangers. No, they expected to be at 105 wins right now, 26 games up. Padres may be duking it out for a wild card, but probably not. I think the pressure's squarely on them.
I think the Padres will certainly come into these games. There'll be some anticipation. I mean, there'll be big games.
You're excited. They're big.
I think if the series goes on, if the Padres win, the Dodgers get tighter and tighter. Tomorrow's even tougher. If the Padres win the first one, the Dodgers feel the pressure that much more tomorrow. And if the Padres win the first 2, the Dodgers will be in full-on panic mode by Thursday, knowing that if they lose that game,
see Shohei
they
pitch.
would lose control of the division.
You see Shohei running out to the bullpen in the 3rd inning. Nothing would surprise me.
I think the first game, the Dodgers will just be like, all right, let's just go do our thing. But if they lose, they're going to get tighter and tighter as this series goes on.
All the pressure is on them.
100%.
I think, you look at this season and everybody that they picked up, how much money they spent, And I got to think, as a Dodger fan or Dodger fans, probably pretty disappointed with this season.
Yeah.
They're definitely not as dominant as they were hoping. So, yeah, all the pressure's on them for sure.
I think so, squarely on their back. And it's not, Landon Knack's a decent pitcher, but he's not one that's striking. It's not Tyler Glass now and Yamamoto and the rotation that we thought going in to the season. A lot of those guys, have not made it through this season and will not.
I like every I said this yesterday.
Yep.
I like every matchup the Padres have in this series. King against Knack today. King has been probably one of the best 3 or 4 starting pitchers in baseball for the last 4 months.
No doubt.
Tomorrow, Dylan Cease against Jack Flaherty. Flaherty's been the Dodgers' best starter since the trade deadline, but Cease, his last 2 starts have been prime Dylan Cease. No one matches up really with prime Dylan Cease if he keeps that going. And then Thursday, it's Joe Musgrove against Walker Buehler. Buehler's really been pretty terrible for the Dodgers trying to get his form back. And Joe, outside of 1 inning, has been as sharp as we've seen Joe, pretty much in a Padres uniform the last few starts. He's been outstanding. So there's no reason why the Padres don't feel good about every single matchup in this series. I've got the best and worst case scenarios, just kind of what you can anticipate this week for the Padres. We'll get to those coming up. First, baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile. You can get tons of benefits, still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch. Ben's scenarios right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by AleSmith 394 Pale Ale. Got a few problems here, guys. One is a crash heading out of the South Bay, northbound side of the 805 before Palm Avenue. A couple vehicles involved, not showing if any lanes are blocked. Also, 2-car collision north 805 before Governor. They're over to the right shoulder. Cordell and Cordell traffic cam now shows a collision on the Via de la Valle off-ramp of southbound 5. Looks like a vehicle went down the embankment over to the left shoulder. AleSmith 394 Pale Ale, the official rally pint of the playoff push. Catch all the San Diego baseball action this week at the AleSmith Tasting Room in Miramar. Enjoy specials on 394 and more while you cheer on your team with fellow fans. Don't miss the excitement. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I know what savvy Padres fans are thinking. Ben, best case scenario is pretty obvious. Padres control their own destiny. Just win the last 6 games. It doesn't matter what anyone else does. You win the division. You get a bye in the first round. And that is absolutely true. But it's not the ultimate best case scenario for the Padres. I can actually make it a little bit better for you if you're really cheering for what you want to see happen this week. Obviously, a best case scenario would be sweeping the Dodgers the next 3 games, tying them for the division. You've got the tiebreaker. However, with the Diamondbacks losing yesterday against the Giants, if you can go into that last series 4 games up on the Diamondbacks, you're 3.5 up right now. So if you win the next 3, you're guaranteed to go up 4 at least because they've already lost 1. That means the Diamondbacks would have no chance to catch you. And if they've already clinched a playoff spot, like if they win the next 2, their incentive in those last 3 games will be 0. They will have nothing to play for. In fact, they won't tell you this out loud, they'll probably want to lose and fall to the 6th seed so they get the Milwaukee Brewers and not the Padres or the Dodgers in the first round. So they will rest everybody. You will see none of their pitchers. You will probably see a lot of the regular position players sitting in that series. So if the Padres can win these next 3, they're not going to face a Diamondbacks team that's clawing and scratching for the playoffs likely. They're going to face one that's like, we're in, we want to rest everybody because we're playing on Tuesday, and guess what? We don't even want to be the 5th seed. We'd rather be the 6th seed and probably go to Milwaukee than have to play the Dodgers or the Padres in the first round.
Yeah.
So that would be a ultimate best case scenario, is to go into that last series. And then you still have to win those games, but you're not taking on an opponent that is probably giving it everything. And if you really want to throw it in, if the Dodgers wouldn't mind also then losing a couple times at Coors Field, Padres could clinch by Saturday night if they win all 5 games and the Dodgers lose their next 2. That's probably asking too much, but Coors Field is that house of horrors. We'd give you a chance on Sunday to rest everybody up if you wanted to, but you'd have the bye locked up going into the week and knowing you're not playing until Saturday. That's the best, absolute dream scenario for your San Diego Padres. You want to know what the worst case scenario is?
Not particularly.
I know you don't. So what you really don't want to see happen is the Diamondbacks picking up 2 games on the Padres the next couple of days. They're 3.5 back. Padres, if they got swept, the Diamondbacks lost their next 2, they would be 1 game back. That would mean that all the Diamondbacks would need to do is win the series against the Padres. If they go in 1 game down and they take 2 of 3, they tie the Padres at the end of the season, and they will have the tiebreaker 7-6 by virtue of winning that series and the season series, which would knock the Padres out of hosting the wild card. And then that'd be terrible. They'd likely have to stay in Arizona and play Arizona, or have to fly to New York and play the Mets right after Sunday's game in Arizona without any time to rest. You've probably used all your high leverage pitchers to try to win those games against the Diamondbacks, and you will have 1 travel day or 1 day just remaining in Arizona to try to get reset for now a road postseason series.
Well, it's a great exercise to do, certainly, but it all changes after 1 game tonight, right? Like everything really kind of changes, and you also have to see what the Diamondbacks do. The Giants are 6-1, I think, on their road trip right now. They did win again last night. Diamondbacks did not look great in their loss. So I just, it all changes, and the beauty is you're not begging the Giants, please take care of the Diamondbacks, or we're not going to make it. Please, Phillies beat the Mets, or we're not going to make it, or Mets, Braves, whatever. Like you don't really have to sweat it that much if you're a San Diego Padres fan. Sure, there are scenarios that would be better than others, but to know that you control, if you win every game, you win the West is pretty cool. I mean, I didn't think we'd be in that position sitting here today. That if you win the rest of your games, man, you are the Western Division champions in the NL, which is nuts.
And as people are pointing out, and it is true, if the Padres win out and the Phillies lose at least 3 more, Padres could still get the number 1 seed, which is overall in the playoffs. Home field advantage all the way to the World Series.
So that ring, that brass ring, is right in front of these guys, and if they handle business and they play the way that they've played recently, I'm fairly confident it can happen.
I agree.
Yeah, it's just going to be, it's so exciting that we're in this position.
But again, you have to win the first one to make the next one really important, and then you have to win that one to make the next one even more important. Again, if the Padres drop a couple of games this week, which is absolutely possible, it's a road trip against 2 playoff teams,
correct,
the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. No one can expect or be disappointed if they don't go 6-0. That's a dream, best case scenario. There's still, I think, an important, play for that home field advantage in the first round. You only need a couple of wins likely to lock that up all week long. And then you could, the second best scenario, if you don't win the division against the Dodgers, you could still wrap up the Diamondback series by Friday and then have Saturday and Sunday if you wanted to rest some people, get your bullpen ready, Monday off, and then come back strong on Tuesday with everybody raring to go at 100% in a home game against probably either the Diamondbacks or the Mets at Petco Park in the Wild Card Series. That's probably the more realistic best case scenario for the Padres, but I still, reach for the brass ring, go for what you can this week. There's no reason not to. At this point, you're going for it as much as you can. You can reevaluate later in the week if, circumstances change and you look like you're going for the wild card. Then you may start thinking about, all right, who do we want to rest? Who do we want to, be careful with? Setting up our playoff rotation, making sure it's all good to go. But those are Ben's scenarios for the week.
And making sure your bullpen is fresh. And I know that there's this misconception that the more rest that guys get in the bullpen, the better. It's just, I don't know that it doesn't always work that way. You guys need to get in. They need to stay sharp. And the way you stay sharp is by playing baseball and executing in high leverage situations. That's how Tanner Scott stays sharp.
You don't want any of your high leverage guys to go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
correct,
and then have to go again for a 4th time in 5 days on Tuesdays.
100%.
You certainly don't mind if you're using Adam, Scott, Suarez, once over that weekend to keep them just locked in.
Locked in.
But have plenty rested and ready for a potential Tuesday game.
Yeah, no doubt. It's again, I do not envy Mike Schilt in the next week at all. Not even a little bit.
I think the bullpen set up pretty good, you
Yep.
know, where it's not just 3 guys we're relying on. There's 5 guys that, you know, can come in and high leverage.
You got Ass, and you got Morihone,
And Estrada.
and you got Estrada.
I mean, our bullpen probably going into this is probably set up the best. So we're in good shape.
And then you got guys that, you know, if a game does get out of hand either way, that you're like, all right. I mean, Yuki hasn't pitched in I think it's been like 2 weeks since he's thrown a baseball in a big league game. So I there's a couple of different things too. I mean, maybe Sean Reynolds comes back up. Alec Jacobs still down there. He hasn't gotten a ton of work. Like, there's still things that need to be done. But again, when you talk about we're all sitting on our couches going, well, obviously it's clear what you do. No, it's going to change day by day, inning by inning, pitch by pitch, what Mike Schilt needs to do or what he thinks is the best move for the team. And I think you really have no choice but to trust that they're prepared. I mean, we asked him last week, you know, how do you prepare? He goes, I prepare in April the same way as I prepare in September. So you just kind of trust your preparation. But I don't envy him at all. I mean, not even a little bit. That would be the worst. This would be such a gnarly week to have to manage. Playoffs is, honestly, like, not that the playoffs is easier, but in the playoffs, you're like, yeah, I went to Tanner Scott. He's the best pitcher I have. He didn't get the job done. We lost the game. Right, whatever. Like, that's what you do.
At the end of the day, the players have to perform.
Execute.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day in the playoffs, you make strong moves. You make moves with guys you trust, guys that you've seen, guys that you know can get the job done. Doesn't always work out in your favor. So it's not an enviable task this week.
The other big games tonight, 4:20, the Mets at the Braves. That's Luis Severino against Spencer Schwellenbach in that one.
I saw yesterday, is there like a hurricane rolling through Georgia right now? Did you see this?
Florida, definitely,
Florida?
which is right next to Georgia. So, weather could be a factor in that series. And then the Giants-Diamondbacks matchup tonight. Logan Webb for the Giants, Brandon Pfaadt for the Diamondbacks. And that's a 6:40 start. Of course, Padres play the latest game possible at 7:10 tonight against the Dodgers. So you might want to have some of that Death Watch coffee. Death Wish coffee on hand tonight, so you can stay up.
It'll be ready.
Padres do have to win tonight
to clinch.
A Braves or Mets loss does not change anything.
It helps you, but you need both. I know people say that if there's a 3-way tie, I still think the Padres could lose a 3-way tie. So you need both of them to lose once. If you're not going to win again, only one can lose tonight since they're playing each other. So I still believe the only way the Padres clinch a playoff spot tonight is by winning. But they could win eventually a playoff spot without winning a day or two later. But tonight, I think they still have to win to clinch a playoff spot and reduce that magic number to 0.
Go get that dub.
Get that done.
All right, when we come back, what would maybe be the funniest thing ever, there's a soon-to-be retiring Padres nightmare who could actually help them big time in his final 3 games of his career, if you saw the announcement yesterday. Talk about that, play a little Take on Woods. When we come back, hour number 2 of the show, next on 97.3 The Fan. We won't have to hear this anymore at Coors Field, Padres fans. The song that gives you nightmares.
Heebie-jeebies.
Charlie Blackman comes to the plate. That is Your Love by the outfield.
Creepy song.
It is a creepy
Very
song.
creepy.
It's a really creepy one to choose as your walk-up music as well.
Yeah, very, very
But
creepy.
when they all do that yelling tonight as a fan base, it is a cool moment, I would think, for them. And showing their love to Charlie Blackman, who announced his retirement yesterday.
Yeah, all 14 of them get
Yeah,
very excited
I know,
when they do that.
They do.
They're in Colorado.
You can hear it. You can hear it on the radio when
Do you
they
want
do it when it comes up.
you want the numbers?
I would love the numbers. I have some of the numbers.
It's a career.
I made up a number. Some people believed it last night. I said Charlie Blackman has 226 career home runs. That is true. I said 215 of those are against the Padres. That I exaggerated just a little tiny bit.
It surely feels that way, but he has played in his career. He's played 192 games against the Padres in his career. He has a batting average of 301. He's got 221 hits in 192 games. 35 bombs, 104. It's a Manny Machado season, right? 301, 35 homers, 104 RBIs with 124 runs scored in 192 games. He has truly. I'm actually bummed he didn't do it before the season so that we could have given him the surfboard. And really on the surfboard, he just says, "Get the hell out of here. Never come back, Charlie. Also, get that ham out of your beard. Please, we are begging you." But, yeah, I mean, great career for Charlie Blackman. Really, really nice career. And I'll be so happy to see him go.
A.J. Cassaville added to those stats. Blackman will retire with more homers, hits, runs, steals, and RBIs against the Padres than any other team. And in the final series of his career, he has a chance to help them win the NL West. Because, of course, the Dodgers will have to go to Coors Field and take on the Rockies, who I'd imagine would like to send Charlie off with a nice feeling in his last 3 games and try to win a couple of those.
How about a nice 3 games? So call it 12 ABs. How about a nice 9 for 12 with 4 home runs and 13 RBI? How about that?
I love it.
Against the Dodgers. Yeah, I mean.
He had one against them to
He
win
did.
the game
A massive
at Dodger Stadium just a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I mean.
God dang, dude, I'm looking at his numbers. Obviously, he played his whole career, right, with the Rockies?
He's a Rocky for life.
Rocky for life, yeah.
So he's been in the National League West. So no surprise that his 4 most teams home runs against
All the
all
divisional
national
opponents.
But he's hit 20 against the Giants, 22 in his career against the Dodgers, 26 against the Diamondbacks, and then 35 against the Padres, more than any other team.
Crazy. Just really, really comfortable hitting against the San Diego Padres, which a lot of teams were for a while, but certainly feels a little different now. But yeah, he has a chance to help us out. But I mean, if history tells you anything, he doesn't help us out. He actually hurts us. So expect a nice 0 for 12, 14 left in scoring position. Charlie Blackman sticks the knife in one more time. But I certainly will be rooting hard for Charlie Blackman in his last 3 games.
Someone tweeted me and said, now he's going to have to shave his beard now that he's retired. I don't think that's how retirement works. When you're retired, you don't have to shave it at all if you don't want, right?
Like David Letterman, man.
You just
Things out there.
let it go now. I mean,
Wait a minute.
This was Kempt Charlie Blackman. Now he really gets to let that beard go in retirement.
Why would you have to shave it when you retire?
That's what I said. I don't think
It's
you
the other
understand.
way.
I don't think you
It's
understand
the other
I
retirement.
will be around the wife a lot more now, so maybe she doesn't like it.
That's
Potentially.
possible. If you want to get into broadcasting, perhaps, although
No,
Dallas Braden
Braden
still has his, even though
Rockies
he's a
would welcome him back
broadcaster.
with open arms,
Yeah,
I'm sure,
for
and
sure.
he would not have to change a thing.
Wonder how his missus feels about that walk-up song. Josie's on a vacation far away. You come around and talk it over. So many things I want to say. I like my girls a little bit older. I just want to use your love tonight. Ben, that just means I just want to make love to you.
So Josie's his girlfriend or significant other. She's on a vacation.
She's
far
on a
away.
vacation far
He's
away.
looking for a
Side
replacement,
action.
and he's found a girl. She's a little young for him, but he doesn't mind because, well, he's looking for someone just temporarily.
No, is she older?
No, he likes his girls a little bit older, but unfortunately, she's not as old as he was looking for. How young is she?
It's very creepy.
It's a creepy song.
His wife's like, really? That's the one. That's the one you roll with? Okay. All right. But, no, yeah, we need him to do well. Need the Rockies to, and Buddy Black, Big Tier 1 of the show. Need Bud Black to manage his best 3 games. I mean, he tried. He tried to help us the other day. 1-run lead in the 9th inning, and no, you're not going to get Ohtani, Betts, and didn't even have to get to Freeman. But two solo shots, and Dodgers win that game, going away. So, yeah, Ohtani is one of the hottest hitters on the planet right now. There's just, I mean, he's just as locked in as can be. So, why would you throw him anything near the zone? I take my chances. I really do.
Really?
What do you mean?
I mean,
to try to get him out?
They put him in the leadoff spot for a reason.
Of course.
If you just work around him, then you're putting him on in
and he
front
can
of
steal a bag.
Mookie and Freddie every single time.
Right.
I think you try to make sure no one's on in front of him at the bottom of the order. So if he does get his home runs, they're solo shots.
Go after him the first at bat.
Padres given up solo shots. A lot of them actually recently. I mean, Perez, Darvish, they can win games giving up solo shots. You just can't let Ohtani hit the 3-run bomb. But I wouldn't be walking him in front of Betts and Freeman and set up big innings necessarily. I pitched to him mostly this series.
I'm not giving him the 4. I'm not Garrett Coling him, but I'm going to try to make him expand the zone. I'm not going to throw him heaters down the middle like Skip Schumacher's team did.
You can get Shohei Ohtani out.
He's very gettable. And Michael King has nasty stuff.
Right.
So.
But you make a mistake. He's
done it all season.
Yeah.
We've
gotten him out.
These guys gotten him out all season. So it's just stick with that formula.
Stick with the formula.
I don't think he was quite as hot the last times the Padres.
He was not.
Faced the Dodgers. So the last time I had this math, and if you want to join us for Take on Woods, I'm going to play here in just a minute or two. So call up. The lines are open right now. Nobody on the line. 833-288-0973. Chance to qualify for our grand prize trip to Vegas. 833-288-0973. The last time the Padres played at Dodger Stadium was the same day that Scotty Scheffler won the Masters. April 14th was the last game between the Padres and Dodgers in L.A. They played the 2 in Korea, and then the Padres immediately went and played 3 in L.A., and, you know, you're only playing 7 road games against them all season. So that was 4 of them. 1 of the 2 in Korea counted as an L.A. game. 3 in L.A. These are the last 3. Nothing between April 14th and now September 24th is your next trip to Dodger Stadium. It's been a long time.
It has. Excited. Just ready to get the game here.
I think Tatis going to have a big series.
He likes hitting there.
He does
he
like
really
hitting
likes
hitting
There's
there.
stuff on the line, and he's going to be fired up.
Yep, and
he's got an 11-game hitting streak
He's
going.
hot, too. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
I like that call. I do. Yeah, if you want to play.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. All right,
when you
let's
guys
do
are.
it. Let's play a little Take on Woods. All right, I see the calls coming in. Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. Let's go. Is this Billy?
It's Billy.
Billy, good morning. Say hi to Paul and to Patrick.
Hi, Paul and Patrick.
Good morning.
Patrick, how are you at this game?
I'm not. I mean, as far as music, I love music, but as far as trivia goes, I'm not one of those that remembers
tough
songs.
against. Yeah,
and
you don't want to challenge Woods on this, but Billy is going to try. If he can beat or tie Woods in 5 questions, he will qualify for our grand prize drawing. It is a 2-night stay at the Wynn or Encore Las Vegas. Nice enough for me, nice enough for Patrick, I would think, in Las Vegas, and 2 tickets to see Awakening, the thrilling spectacle at Wynn Las Vegas. Tickets are on sale now at awakening.com. So, Billy, we will give you a little leg up by letting you select the category today. Here are your choices. We've got Below the Waist, 5 songs that include a lower half body part in the title. We've got Happy Days, 5 song titles that include the word days. And our new category is called This End Up. It is an all 2-second song category, each song title ending with the word up. So, Below the Waist, Happy Days, or This End Up, Billy?
Let's go with Happy Days.
Happy Days. All right, Happy Days is the category. Again, 5 song titles that include the word days. We had one including the word day last week. This is days, plural. You'll have 60 seconds. If you don't know one of the answers, you can say pass. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First question, just the one, is our 2-second song. Paulie, I'm going to play you some music. You need to give me that title with the word days and the artist, two-parter, to score that point. Billy, you ready to play?
Ready.
All right, let's put 60 seconds on the clock. Category is Happy Days. Billy, your time begins when Paul plays our music. Good luck. Let's take on Woods.
Come on, Billy.
Glory Days, Bruce Springsteen.
Correct. Natalie Merchant wrote and belts out which 1992 hit for 10,000 Maniacs that was the only song by the band to reach number 1 on the Billboard Alternative charts.
I don't know. These Are Days.
That is correct. Take Your Baby by the Hand is the first line of which 1984 song that was the first top 40 hit for the new wave band Wang Chung.
Dance Hall Days.
Correct. It sounds like a Yogi Berra-ism, but the Beatles say Ringo Starr was the inspiration for which 1964 number 1 hit that extends the normal calendar a little bit.
8 Days a Week.
Correct. Which 1985 song by The Cure features the phrase go on, repeated in the first chorus, and come back, repeated in the second chorus?
Quickly.
God, I can sing it in my head. Go on.
Go on.
Quickly.
This last one's always the toughest one. 4 is a good score, though, there, Billy.
Good,
Stay on the
good.
line.
I thought he was gonna.
Any idea what that one was, Patrick?
I have no idea.
In Between Days
There you
is
go.
what that one is called. I can see it in my head,
I
but
think
the
I
title,
got like 1 or 2.
title's
of
a little tough. You got the other 4, though, so let's bring Woods back in.
Good job. Good job.
Woods doesn't get the category, so he goes in blind. Billy waiting on hold with his score locked in. All right, let's put 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Billy.
Glory Days, Bruce Springsteen.
Correct. Natalie Merchant wrote and belts out which 1992 hit for 10,000 Maniacs that was the only song by the band to reach number 1 on the Billboard Alternative charts.
These Are Days.
Correct. Take Your Baby by the Hand is the first line of which 1984 song that was the first
Dance
top...
Hall Days.
Correct. It sounds like a Yogi Berra-ism, but the Beatles say Ringo Starr was the inspiration for which 1964 number 1 hit that extends the normal calendar a
8
little
days
bit.
a week.
Correct. Which 1985 song by The Cure features the phrase...
In Between Days.
Oh! No! And Woods
Wow.
pulls it out 5-4. Billy, I'm so sorry.
Sorry about it, Billy.
Oh, I knew once it came down to The Cure, you were in good shape
Boy,
on
that
that
felt
one.
good. Thank you, Death Wish Coffee, for keeping
I
me
thought
locked in
maybe-
always.
Maybe you got the category. You figured it out
Yeah.
pretty quickly. That helped.
These Are Days. The Natalie Merchant was like, "What is?"
I thought that might trip you up early without knowing what the category was.
Man,
But,
good
wow,
one
Billy,
today.
thanks for playing. That was a tough loss. He played well.
Did good.
Just
Yes,
couldn't
thank
come
you.
up with the Cure title, and that was the difference today.
you get to witness greatness today, Patrick.
I did.
You got to see
That
it
was
live in the
impressive.
flesh. Is it like watching, Tatis hit
I would
or
love
Manny
to
play
see
third?
you versus Gary Dell'Abate.
Go,
that would
me
be
against
amazing.
Boy Gary, he would
Yeah,
smoke
that
me.
would be amazing.
Smoke me, man. Oh my Lord, he is the my inspiration
Yeah.
for Take On Woods is Baba Booey. Whew. I felt good. I can't lie. I've not been my best lately, but I got the fastball back. Started working on
Billy
an
gave you a good game, though.
got an output. Yeah, Billy, great game, man.
Please try again. There's no reason you
Yeah,
can't.
for sure, dude.
You certainly have the what it takes to
Yeah.
get into qualify for the grand
He
prize
had to be
at some point.
feeling pretty good.
I thought 4 had a chance on
4
that
had a
one,
chance.
but you figured it out too quickly, and that was it.
He got those first 4 quick, and I was like,
Did he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
feels
feels
good.
he's
Which
got
one
it.
did he miss?
The last one, The Cure.
He missed The Cure. One of my
In
favorite
Between
Cure
Days,
songs.
it's a great song, but I didn't know what the title was.
I think he ran out
either.
of time. He goes, I'm singing it in my head.
Yeah.
I know
We
it.
are in between without you. It's so good.
All right, Don't Do This is coming up next. John Fisher
Why even try?
is the worst owner.
Well, why even say anything?
Just shut up.
Just shut up.
And
Shut,
no,
just
shut
go
your
away.
pie
Keeps
hole, dude.
making it worse. I mean, it's already the painful last week here for the Oakland A's. Why are you just rubbing it in at this point?
Is it? It's sadistic. Kind
seems
of.
like
Yeah.
it. That is coming up next after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Talking baseball with Jeff Francoeur coming up in our next segment. First, little DDT, and I will start us today with an update on a story I talked about either last week or recently about Dan Campbell, the Lions head coach, who had to sell his house because his address, was kind of living in a normal neighborhood, was made public, and then people would come and, after Lions losses would, prank them or whatever. They just weren't feeling safe in their house, so they had to buy, gated community somewhere secretive just because he's the head coach of the Detroit Lions. Well, the update is how the address became known originally. And this story, this is pretty bad. So Dan Campbell's daughter goes to high school, and apparently one of her classmates, a male classmate, during the NFC Championship game last year when the Lions were taking on the 49ers. And if you might remember that game, it was the fourth quarter. 49ers were up 3, 27-24 midway through. Lions had 4th and 3 from the Niners' 30. And instead of trying to kick the tying field goal, Dan Campbell, aggressive, went for it,
Trying to win
Jared
the
Goff, incomplete pass deep to Amon-Ra St. Brown, incomplete, turned it over on downs. 49ers end up winning the game. Well, apparently that caused the male classmate of his daughter, who knew where she lived because I guess they knew each other, to post the family's home address on Snapchat with the accompanying text of dumb bleep trying to go for it.
Doxed.
And yes, doxed is what that's calling, posting people's addresses online for the purpose of having them being harassed. And ever since then, that's when the harassment started, usually after Lions losses, forcing the Campbells to have to sell their home and move somewhere else.
High school kid. Thinking he's being funny. Who was it that did you dox me or did I dox you? You doxed me, right? With my Christmas card.
Yourself.
No, I think he doxed me.
I accidentally had in a picture there was your
Christmas card and my address. That was cool.
Christmas card you sent me. It was a nice Christmas card. I wanted to show how nice the Christmas card
along
was.
with my address, I think.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
Did you have to sell your house?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. But I'm not on Dan Campbell's level.
That's true.
I'm not, my decisions aren't affecting people's football team.
I liked that decision.
Vice versa.
I love Dan Campbell's aggressive decisions.
Bro, you're trying to win the game.
And that can always work out.
Yeah, you're trying to win a football game there. I mean, it makes sense to me. All right, so John Fisher yesterday, you played the last game in Oakland over the weekend, and he released a letter to A's fans ahead of their. This is actually before, but it came out September 23rd. It said this upcoming series with the Texas Rangers. Actually, yeah, these are the last games, right? Against the
last
Rangers.
three, the home games are the first. These three, and then they go on the road for the last three.
The upcoming series with the Texas Rangers will be the final games of the A's' storied 57 years in Oakland. Has to get this in. And while the A's previously played in Philadelphia and Kansas City, Oakland's been the home for the greatest era in the franchise's more than 123-year history. He goes into a bit of a trying to make excuses. He's defensive.
He gets defensive.
He says, our dream was to win a world championship, build a new ballpark in Oakland over the next 18 years. We did our very best to make that happen. We proposed and pursued 5 different locations. This is all this feels very reminiscent of things that happened here in San Diego.
I mean, just substitute Oakland for San Diego and A's for Chargers, and you have the exact same, almost word for word.
Yep. He said only in 2021, after 16 years of working exclusively on developing a home in the Bay Area and faced with binding MLB agreement to find a new home by 24, did we begin to explore taking the team to Las Vegas. Listen, he said, I wish I could speak to each one of you individually and tell you this from the heart. We tried. Staying in Oakland was our goal. It was our mission, and we failed to achieve it. For that, I'm genuinely sorry. That being said, I saw a tweet that laid me out. This guy tweeted yesterday. In 2004, the A's gave Eric Chavez $66 million. In 2005, John Fisher took over the A's. 20 years later, Eric Chavez is still the biggest contract in A's history.
Wow.
2024, John Fisher. We tried. They really did become a breeding ground for other teams. Was a very, very cheap owner. And again, you wonder how long these visions of getting out of there, getting to Vegas. As soon as Vegas was on the table, I think John Fisher took the opportunity to sabotage everything he could. The fact that MLB has just kind of rubber stamped this every step of the way. They're going to be in Sacramento for a while. There's a chance they never get to Vegas, is what people are saying. But it's just ugly. We've lived it. I have great sympathy for the A's. I've always dug their franchise a lot. And, it's a real bummer for them.
So I thought I was reading yesterday that tickets are almost sold out. Like, there's a lot of people going to these final 3 games. Then I went on ESPN, and I think they have a partnership with Vivid Seats because it says on the schedule, like, tickets as low as blank.
Right.
Tickets are as low as $3.
$3
for tonight's game. But
are they opening up like Mount Davis and all the seats at the top for the cheap ones? I don't even know.
I don't know, but I don't know how to feel. I guess I can't tell anybody how to fan, and especially an A's fan is you got so many emotions. Like, you want to go see your team one last time, but I'm also like, I totally understand if you're like, I'm not giving this guy even $3 more.
Even $3.
Like, nothing. I don't want no support whatsoever. But then you also want to go support the team. And
it just sucks, man. It sucks for the players. They got some good players, and had a better season. I think a lot of people expected them to. And there's players there that you want to go watch. But it's just tough, man. And look, what in the world? This thing's not over by a long stretch. I mean, what they're going to have to put up with in Sacramento, they're talking about the temperatures on that field getting up to like 112 degrees, and you got big leaguers coming in. having to play there in a minor league facility for a couple of years, it's just stupid.
Ultimately, the A's wanted to stay in Oakland the way the Chargers wanted to stay in San Diego. Only if the taxpayers were willing to make the owner more rich than he already was by bending over backwards to give them everything beyond everything that they wanted. And when they didn't, they immediately left.
Patrick,
that's the trying they did.
We have a co-host in for the day, won the at the Ben & Woods Open. Chance to co-host for the day, our buddy Patrick Daly. You were a Charger fan growing up, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up a Broncos fan, but when I moved down to San Diego, it was 8th grade. So, it was kind of both. I was Chargers fan because I'm here in San Diego, but
you always rooted for the Broncos?
The 2 times the Broncos would play them, I was a Broncos fan.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I grew up a Broncos fan since I was, 10 years old, 11 years old. And, but yeah, I mean, I was a pretty big Chargers fan too. It's weird being a kid, being both, but it was fun to be able to go with your friends and root for the Chargers.
Their team.
Yeah.
Kids have no loyalty.
No, we don't care.
Finally, just do this. I'll make it quick.
DD Mega
Since we got Jeff Francoeur coming up. Last night in the first Monday Night Football game, the Bills and the Jaguars, wipeout game, not close, 47-10. Josh Allen, 4 touchdown passes. But the do this moment, how about Damar Hamlin with his first career interception?
Pretty sick.
Less than 2 years after the safety, literally died on the field. Cardiac arrest, heart stopped, had to be brought back to life. He's not only playing, but gets his first pick on Monday Night Football in a primetime game, just like he was playing when he had his heart attack on the field. Crazy.
That was a Monday night game.
Pretty amazing.
Crazy great do this moment last night for Damar Hamlin, and that's Don't and Do This for a Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben & Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we've got a dilemma about our next guest. Woods and I are not entirely sure whether his nickname is Frenchie or Franchi.
I am.
Jeff Francoeur. Oh, have you checked?
Frenchie.
Frenchie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought, too. He's not French, though, is he? Is he French?
No.
It's just Francoeur.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, we'll talk baseball with the former major leaguer now with TBS.
It might be. I don't.
Coming up
Francoeur.
next
Frenchie.
on 97.3 The Fan. So if it wasn't so chilly in this studio, you'd see under Woods' hoodie. He is wearing an El Paso Chihuahuas t-shirt in honor of our next guest.
Shout out to John Connor from Mad Friars, hooked me up with this. I wore one yesterday as well, so I don't know why. It's just the t-shirts that I grabbed, but look at this. There it is.
Now, you didn't know it at the time.
No, I did not.
But our next guest, Jeff Francoeur, actually had the very first home run in El Paso Chihuahuas history. Probably not maybe his most memorable milestone of his big league career. He's now with TBS and Pure Athlete, helping parents navigate the complicated world of youth sports.
Oh, boy. Oh,
Jeff Francoeur joins us here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Jeff, good morning. It's good to have you on here in San Diego.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Doing well, man. Doing well. The youth sports is where I want to start, if possible. I got a 6-year-old, so I've coached his t-ball teams, and now we're in machine pitch. And I got to tell you, man, getting out to the field, making sure the rotations were right, everybody gets a taste of different positions. I was more stressed out for that first game, Jeff, than I've ever been in my life, man. I was almost sick to my stomach.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I have 4 kids. I love youth sports. I love coaching my kids. But I'm sure you're realizing too, there are some crazy parents out there. There's some people that take 5- and 6-year-old t-ball a little too serious. But
what if you're one of them?
Honestly,
what if you're one of them? What if I live and die? like
he
not
can't help you, then, Woods.
Not outwardly, but like Jeff, you've got kids, and I wonder. I mean, I'm 49.
Oh, yeah.
I'm 49 years old. It's always been this way, in my opinion. I feel like we do this thing where we're like, well, back in the day, all the parents sat quietly with their hands folded in their laps. My dad got in a fist fight at my brother's Little League, and this is 30 years ago.
No, look, at the end of the day, we all want our kids to do great. I'm sitting there throwing to my kids, man. I'm pulling like crazy for them. I just also think there's a right way and a wrong way to do it.
Sure.
And I think these days you have, look, I love what you said, rotating the kids, letting them play other positions. My big thing is this, in any sport at 5, 6 years old, you don't just stick a kid in the outfield and bat him 12th the whole season and do it. I mean, you're not developing anybody. I'm not saying, look, I coach 5- and 6-year-old t-ball for my daughter for a softball team. I try to win every game, of course, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and put a girl in a situation that she can't handle or to not give her an opportunity to go win a game. And I think that's where these days it's gotten kind of lost on that.
That's true.
Too many people doing that kind of stuff.
That's true, man. I love what you're doing. And again, it's pureathleteinc.com. And you do a podcast on there talking about it. I just think it's really important to continue to, and not even like shame the parents that do it the wrong way, but just to kind of bring awareness that like, hey man,
exactly,
people are watching and they're podcasting about it as well. I got a radio show. You don't want to end up on the radio, somebody talking about what a goofball you were.
We're actually going to have Jackson Merrill when the season's done,
nice.
Which will be great. I just love a lot of these athletes, guys, are pushing multi-sports, continue to play a lot of them, and eventually, that's what I tell people, man. You don't know at 10 years old until someone goes through puberty. You really don't know what you're working with. So just continue to play a lot of sports, continue to develop, and continue to have fun.
Jackson's like the ultimate success story. I mean, he's still a youth athlete, essentially.
Pretty
but
much.
He's got such a good head on his shoulders. I don't know exactly what his parents and coaches did right, but they did something incredibly right, Jeff. So let's talk about the Padres. We're obviously, super excited for this week. Dodgers, Diamondbacks trying to clinch a playoff spot. The division is still in play. We're also nervous because people in the national media, and you're in the national media now with TBS, are all calling the Padres kind of the dark horse, the sexy team. And we're like, let's just keep them under the radar here. Don't be talking about our San Diego Padres, but they have been playing really good baseball. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
Well, I think a lot of times when you come to the postseason, right, you start to break down teams, starting pitching, the offense, the bullpen. And I think one reason that the Padres look so good right now is you start looking at all 3 sections and you say, there's not really a weakness. You get behind in the 5th, 6th inning to the Padres, you're going to have trouble winning a ball game because of that bullpen. So And of course, with the guys they have offensively that are clicking, coming along, it's going to be a tough out, man. And it'll be interesting to see what happens because I continuously say I know the wild card is in play. I mean, the division's in play, but I don't think the Dodgers or the Phillies between us really want that 1 seed because I don't think they want to have to end up playing the Padres, the 4 or 5 seed. I think it's a lot like what happened to the Braves last year, guys. The Phillies got that 4 seed. They got hot, and it's a tough out. So, I mean, you got to love everything about the Padres right now. I do, I know.
Yeah, we do too. And the one thing that hasn't been here this season, talking to Jeff Francoeur here on Ben and Woods this morning, the one thing that hasn't been here is that sense of impending dread, Jeff. And, again, knock on wood, man, but what's their longest losing streak in the second half? 2 games? And so you play consistent baseball like that. Okay, of course, all of that goes out the window in a week. All of it. Everyone's hitting 0. Everyone's ERA is back to 0. Playing in the playoffs, I would imagine, is certainly a different animal. And you grip the bat a little bit tighter. You grip the ball a little bit tighter. And tell us about your playoff experiences and just how crazy it is.
Well, it's funny because, when I came through the playoffs, my 3 chances, we never had that best-of-3 series. So you at least, when I played, you always got at least 5 games in that first series. So I think that's the interesting thing because that first game in a best-of-3, man, is so important. So you put a lot of pressure on your team, and that's where, though, that I love for the Padres of having that bullpen, guys, that if you get a lead in game 1 and your starter is scuffling at all in the 4th or 5th, you can really maximize San Diego can, to me, with that bullpen bringing those guys in. So that's where they have, to me, such a big advantage because they can lock down that game 1. And, of course, being at home in San Diego, that place has been just, sold out every night, so much fun. So, again, look, you got to go out and you got to play the games. And I know what you're saying. Y'all would rather just fly under the radar and do it. But unfortunately, I think everybody knows how good the Padres are.
You make the point about the 3-game series, and it's also why everyone's kind of writing off the Atlanta Braves. Too many injuries, not going to get it done. But if they can win this series against the Mets and sneak in with Chris Sale going in a game 1 of a 3-game series, you can't really discount even a team like the Atlanta Braves at this point.
No, and if you got Sale, you got Max Fried, you got Spencer Schwellenbach, who's doing great. I continuously say, even if the Braves take 2 out of 3 from the Mets, the Mets and Braves could sneak in. The Diamondbacks are kind of, fading. Obviously, I think where all that comes to the last week of the season, guys, this, is who you're playing. And, if the Padres, are got that, let's be honest, if they don't win the division, they got the 4 seed pretty much wrapped up. So then it starts to how hard are they going to play this weekend? They got to set their pitching for the wild card series, all that. So it kind of is hit or miss. So that's what's going to be interesting, I think, this weekend is you got a lot of games. You got the Mets, Brewers, you got the Braves and Royals. Royals right now are playing for their lives. So a lot of it's going to come down to how motivated, the other teams are to win.
I got to ask you about this while we have you because we've never had you before. We're talking to Jeff Francoeur here on Ben and Woods this morning. Part of the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest prank ever pulled in baseball history?
I would think so.
I would think.
I would.
This happened with the El Paso Chihuahuas, right?
It doesn't.
It did. And my wife loves it because I'm a prankster. In the big leagues, man, I was the guy pulling a lot of these pranks with certain guys on the team. So my wife always said the fact that someone got me as good as they did, she thought it was the greatest thing ever.
All right, for those of our listening audience that aren't familiar, I've seen a video on it before. Just kind of walk us through what happened when you got to El Paso.
Well, Pat Murphy, I literally showed up the day before the season started. So I knew nobody. Pat Murphy was the manager. Of course, he's going to be manager of the year in the NL this year. Done an unbelievable job. But Pat Murphy, basically there was a line drive hit down in left field line, and everybody moved but one guy. And I was like, what's wrong with him? And he just dropped, hey, he's deaf. You didn't know that? And, it started this 16-day prank. where he
16
pretended
days.
he was 16 days. We headed to Tacoma. He sat on the plane for like 3 hours and just looked straight ahead. I mean,
Dog.
listening to nothing, talk. It was unbelievable. I got to give it to them. They did a great job.
Who was the guy that pretended he was deaf? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Jorge Reyes.
Jorge Reyes. So they got him in.
Yeah.
They got the whole team in on it, and they had you convinced, new guy, that hey man, he's one of us. He plays. He's a player, but he can't hear a word you're saying.
The next day, I thought we had a team meeting at 11. Well, Pat Murphy had told the rest of the team to be there at 9:30, and they went through this whole plan on what they were going to do. And give them credit, they pulled it off beautifully.
The video's out there, just search for it. Maybe we can tweet it from our account. It's pretty spectacular, and people were interviewing you about it. You're like, oh no, I think it's great that this guy's out here doing that, and it's just phenomenal.
No doubt.
16 days of being praised, and then when you found out, how did you feel?
Well, so I found out in Tacoma, and actually my dad had flew up there to see me. And so Pat Murphy went up to my dad, who is hilarious, and was like, hey, you got to come in and watch this. We're about to show your son what a dumb you-know-what he is. And, I mean, I actually bought the whole team a steak dinner the next night because of what they were able to pull off. It was incredible. And actually, this guy, Jorge Reyes, his wife, was the one I think that was kind of like, look, Jeff's a nice guy. You can't do this anymore. Because I was literally like, helping the kid out, carrying his bag. I was pulling like crazy for him, right? And yep, that one will stick with me the rest of my life. There's no doubt about that.
It's legendary, man. 2 weeks.
No running away from that.
That is commitment.
It's
right
commitment.
there.
It's brilliant, and that's it's a long season, and you do things to entertain yourself, certainly. But thanks for being a good sport talking about it. It's just one of my favorites of all time.
Before you go, are you doing anything with tonight's game? I know it's a TBS game for the Padres and the Dodgers nationally.
Yeah. I'm actually doing TBS. We got a doubleheader tonight. So
Okay.
I'm in New York, and I got the Yankees-Orioles tonight.
First game.
With Brian Anderson, first game. So I think the Yankees can clinch tonight if they win the division. And like you said, for the most part, a lot of the divisions are wrapped up, but these wild card things are going to be very interesting coming down to the end because you got pretty much both. You got 4 teams in each league locked in.
Yep.
And then you have really – in the American League, the Royals, Twins, Tigers, and to me in the National League, Diamondbacks, Mets, Braves. So you're going to have 2 or 3. So it'll be, you know what? A lot of people don't love the expanded playoffs, but this is what baseball wanted, right? And I think in the big scheme of things, having so many series matter the last week of the season, I think is awesome. So I love it. I know a lot of people don't love the 2 or 3 and the ability to get knocked out quick, but again, from a standpoint of, for national, coverage and everything going on, boy, it's going to be a fun week.
Hey, do you ever get a chance to work with our pal Don Orsillo?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me and Donnie Boy called, 2 or 3 playoff series together?
Yep.
I love Don. That was my whiskey drinking partner, man, right there.
Oh, really?
You got invited to Don Tangelo's for dinner. That's what we
that guy's like a world-class cook.
Oh, dude, yeah. Don't let Don. He can eat some Italian and he can drink some whiskey now.
I love
let me
it.
tell you that.
We
Love
love
Don.
him. Thank you so much,
I
man.
call him Frenchie, Jeff Francoeur. You can check out Pure Athlete, pureathleteinc.com, and the podcast as well. Really appreciate your time, Jeff. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff. Keep that number,
Dude,
Paulie.
yeah, keep that number.
Keep
He
that
was awesome.
number. He was terrific. And that story of the prank that the Chihuahuas pulled off on him in 2014. He was called up to the Padres just for a couple weeks later that summer. Didn't really work out with the Padres, but in the Padres system for that year, legendary.
Well, one of our listening audience was very, very excited about that. Adam Klug, big Braves guy, big Jeff Francoeur guy. He was, they called him when he came up. They dubbed him the Natural. That was his nickname because he had such a hot start in the big leagues. Yeah, 0, right? Just the Natural. He was definitely and always. I think he's still a huge fan favorite in Hotlanta. They love him very much there, and he's a good broadcaster too. He's a fun listen.
All right, he's also given me an idea. I will share it with you right after a quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by AleSmith 394 Pale Ale. Problems in the South Bay, northbound side of the 805 past Plaza Boulevard, collision over the right shoulder, and southbound side of the 805 before Bonita, crash involving a couple of vehicles. They are over to the right shoulder. Also getting reports of an accident on northbound 5. Just before Mile of Cars Way, those vehicles are over to the right shoulder. Accident on the coastline, southbound 5 at Via de la Valle. That's got the 2 left lanes blocked. AleSmith 394 Pale Ale, the official rally pint of the playoff push. Catch all the San Diego baseball action this week at the AleSmith Tasting Room in Miramar. Enjoy specials on $3.94 and more while you cheer on your team with fellow fans. Don't miss the excitement. I love that place. I'm Gilly Danik with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So here's what I'm thinking. If we send Don a nice bottle of bourbon, he'll have to get up early and come on with us one of these days.
Well,
he'll feel guilty.
Remember,
if we send him a nice bottle and go, I gotta go on with those guys.
He texted me. I asked him what his secret was for keeping his pipes, because he screams a lot and stuff, and asked him about his throat regimen. He said, "Thank you." Belvini. Belvini,
Scotch.
14, and Macallan, 12.
Right.
So Scotch
whiskey.
Scotch whiskey.
All right.
And then he said, just green tea during games. So, but it sounds like he likes to have one after. So yeah,
I'd like to think that he slips a little something in that green tea from time to time during the games.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a long season.
It is a long season. Yeah, I also can't have a drunk broadcaster. I mean, it's not the ideal.
It's the stereotype, obviously.
It is. I used to do at Seals games when I started doing PA, screaming into the mic. I'd have a little Southern Comfort with me just to kind of coat the throat, but just a little bit before the game, just to kind of get
a thimbleful.
Yeah, a little more than a thimble, a shot maybe of like it kind of calms you down a little bit, and then B.
I love Southern Comfort.
I mean, it's it's a little bit sweet, but it does the trick.
You don't want to get to, full Bob Uecker from Major League 2.
No.
Take over, Monty.
Yeah.
I'm in the bag.
That's exactly right. You don't want to get there.
Brockmeyer.
Yeah.
Harry Carey was
Harry Carey.
the real version of that.
Sucking down Budweiser's mid-broadcast, but Don is a gem.
Different time back then.
Yeah, different time. Absolutely.
I'm not sure what Don's schedule is, if he's going to have some playoff series possibly coming up. I know there's been a lot of speculation as to when the Padres could play their games. We know which days they'd be on, but like what time would the Padres play in the playoffs if they were in the wild card series? Now, Major League Baseball hasn't announced any start times for next week's games. All we can do is speculate. I did look up when last year's wild card games started, and there were 4 games on Tuesday. There was a noon game, our time, a 1:30 game, a 4 o'clock game, and a 5 o'clock game, with the likely wildcard teams being the Orioles, Astros, the hosts being the Orioles, the Astros, the Brewers, and probably the Padres. You'd think they'd be the latest game, maybe.
I would imagine.
Like the 5 o'clock game. But that's probably when those games will start then. 5:08 is when they did last year.
Crunch time,
Keep that
as I
in mind
call
for
it in
next
my
week.
house. This should go well.
All right, we'll come back, reset the show. We still have more guests coming up, including Jesse Agler, the Incorporator,
Yeah, buddy.
ahead here on 97.3 The Fan.
Oh, my God.
That was jarring.
I'm at a bit of a loss here. Welcome back, Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. We're halfway home on a Tuesday, and really enjoyed that interview with Jeff Francoeur till it was over. I'm Woodsy. To my right is Patrick Daly. He won the chance to co-host today at the Ben and Woods Open. Patrick, you got to see all of that in the flesh. I will get your reaction in a moment, but that was you weren't expecting that this morning.
That was jarring.
It was jarring. Yes.
It
All
was
right.
just like, what just happened?
What just happened? Paul Reindl is the executive producer of the program. Paulie.
That was
something.
I mean,
to my left is.
I want to say it was like to be expected. It was classic him.
Yeah.
But this was like to the next level.
This was to the
like
end.
He runs on a scale of 1 to 10. He runs on an 11.
Yeah.
This was like a 16.
Yeah, he was hot. And then to my left is Ben Higgins. Even Ben was like, that was a little bit odd.
Yeah, so you're talking about Adam.
Yeah, clearly. Our boss.
Who is in our chat right now saying, I'm about to get killed.
Yes.
And I guess his point, and his very urgent point that he had to make, is that...
Out of breath. He sounded like... What did he sound like? He
sounds
sprinted
like we're
back
on the
here.
sixth
The
floor
elevator
of a
was
building,
broken,
and he ran
he had
up
to
the
run
stairs.
up the stairs to make sure we got this news right away.
Yeah, this was gnarly.
Does anyone feel like they missed out on something during our Jeff Francoeur interview? Like, badly?
I did not. I did not thought it was perfectly done, perfectly executed on Jeff's part, on our part. But Adam came in and was puffing and puffing. Hey, what the hell, guys? What? I just was
Everything okay?
Yeah, what's happening? Yeah, you guys missed the best part. What? The punchline of the story. I go. Well,
he told us.
He said it, right?
No, you missed it.
And I said, What are you talking? And I'll say this, like it didn't feel super lighthearted, right? Right?
No, it didn't.
It didn't. It was like mad almost.
It was like we totally
Like, we
blew
just-
it. We had it
screwed
set
up.
up on
Yeah,
a
we
screwed
We
up.
screwed it
We
up.
had the layup to win the NBA championship. We were
just
right there,
wrong.
and we biffed it.
Yes!
Like, right at the end.
I got
I mean, you nailed it. The punchline is the story
the
itself.
story
Yeah.
is the
That's
So,
the funny part.
did anyone
Right.
not get that at the end of the 16 days in which Jorge Reyes is pretending to be deaf just for Jeff Francoeur, and everybody on the El Paso Chihuahuas is in on it, that at the end of the 16 days, what they did was they told Jeff that he's not deaf. Jorge told him
correct.
that he's not deaf.
But the story itself is the gold. The payoff of, well, we went and got it. This.
Hello, my name is Jorge Reyes. Definitely not deaf.
Hello, my name is Jorge Reyes, and I'm not deaf.
And everyone laughs. Yes, it was funny.
The story is
Adam.
for me the story is the funny part.
I agree. Man.
The dedication. You loved being dedicated to a bit, and that was...
Oh, it was great. That's
that
the
was
funny
dedication.
part. 16 days.
16 days of dedication.
Of dedication.
To make it work.
Adam says he walks up the flights of stairs every morning.
I do that sometimes, just to try to get, like if it's one of those days where I'm like, yeah, you're not going to the gym. I'll do the stairs and I feel a little bit better about myself. It's a lot of stairs.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. But he said he ran up to come in and yell at us because we didn't deliver that story properly. I thought it was great. Like it didn't even occur to me like, oh, I think Franchi left out a big part of that story. Like that isn't the punchline implied?
I thought so.
I thought so, too.
I mean, he said, they made him reveal this. His wife was like, Jorge's wife was like, Jeff's too nice.
Jeff's too nice.
You have to tell him.
Right.
And so they told him.
So
Now,
obviously,
Jorge told him.
So
yeah.
get Jeff back on the phone to tell the punchline.
Yeah, just call him back, Paulie. Get him back on the horn.
Hey, I'm really sorry to bother you.
This reminds me of a time on my first show. And, I think about a year in. And I'm trying hard. And everything I did was wrong. Every time I delivered sports, it was wrong. Right? And it was not enough this, too much of this. So every day I would come in sick, riddled with anxiety. Never had a panic attack in my life till I started doing radio. And I was sick to my stomach. And there was something that happened. I can't remember what it was, but it got a big laugh. And the mics go off. My host looks at me and goes, you failed comedy school. And I sat there and I go, well, number one. sports. So I didn't go to comedy school. I wasn't in the Second City troupe or anything, or the Groundlings or whatever. I didn't go to comedy school. I have literally been pulling this out of my rear end for 15 years. So I had that same vibe just now of like that. I'm questioning, do I know what I'm doing again? And it's not a good feeling to be insecure about, your craft and your profession. I thought that went really well.
It was a great interview. There's no doubt about it.
So I'm firmly committed.
I oftentimes will take Adam's side, but on this one, I thought it played out just fine.
As someone on the outside, who's just a listener, I thought that was really good interview. He's a great storyteller.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang. Perfect ending.
Perfect.
It was perfect.
Well, back to the drawing board for me, I guess. If anybody has any improv classes or anything where I can, get better at my job, I guess I'm down to listen. Thought I had it clocked, but apparently I don't.
Ben and Woods taking comedy classes might be comedy in and of itself.
Oh, it would be great. It'd be great. I mean, he was like out of breath. I can't believe you did this. I can't believe this. He said, I just wanted to hear his reaction when he found out the guy wasn't deaf and how the news was broken. All right.
They all laughed.
Thought it was really funny.
It was funny.
Sometimes, like I said, sometimes the story is the joke. The whole long thing, but I don't know. Well, I'm gone, so
well, we
good
digress.
luck, guys. Yeah, I'm sorry. I started to let you guys down.
How about them Padres?
How about
Yeah,
them Padres?
Paulie had an uncomfortable moment.
Big series.
Oh, my God.
Just a few minutes ago.
I don't agree with you on this, by the way.
I
don't agree with either of you.
It was my nightmare. And it was even happening to me. During the commercial break, went to the Odyssey restroom here on our 6th floor, and I walked up to the urinal.
You are going one.
Yes, I was going number one.
Number one.
And there were two gentlemen in the stalls, in two of the stalls, and they were going, well...
Number two.
Number two.
Happens.
And they were having a full-on conversation with each
Not
other.
a damn thing wrong with that.
And I thought, I'm uncomfortable just standing here. I would be mortified if I was in one of those stalls and somebody was sitting there talking to me. I think that is the most uncomfortable situation one of the most uncomfortable situations could possibly be in. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't care if you're a family member, my best friend, or a complete stranger.
What do you do, Woods, when you are in a stall and then someone walks into a stall next to you? Do you instigate conversation? Do you wait for them to make the first move? And
it's usually, you're so early. It's usually one of two people.
Yes.
It's me or John. It's me and John from KSON. And so I will say, Johnny, because he doesn't like it either, and I know that. So I'm like, hey, how you doing? He's like, I just really want to do my business. I'm like, how's everything? Good. Show's going good. Good. How's the new Morgan Wallen? Great. Jelly Roll. Is he still? I'll mess with him the whole time. I don't mind. I like to have a full combo. I like to have a full combo, and it does not bother me in the slightest to have a full conversation in there.
There's only one thing more uncomfortable from, a stall to stall.
Yeah,
is a urinal to urinal.
Urinal to urinal is worse.
That's
At least
the
you have a
worst.
door, like
That
a
is the
partition
absolute
between
worst.
you.
like me and AJ Preller at Petco Park on opening day when I talked to him while we were both standing next to each other.
Did I know this story?
Yeah, you remember this.
I don't remember this.
I don't remember this at all. Probably one of those great stories he forgot to tell us.
No, they were talking about it in the chat, and so we've definitely talked about it on the air.
How'd you? What was discussed?
I just felt like I had to say, good luck this season. Just say something. He's standing right next to me. There's a partition. It's fine.
There is.
I don't. But stall to stall to me is not acceptable.
Way easier than urinal to urinal. Hey, how's it going, bud? Good.
Yeah, just talking to another guy with your junk in your in your hand is just weird.
It is weird. Hey, how's everything? Family good? Good.
Honestly, if I go into a bathroom that has 2 or 3 stalls and someone's already in one of them, I just wait.
You
and come
leave.
Back later.
I'm with Ben, 100%. I'll find another bathroom.
Yeah.
Quacked on Padres says you could join UCB for like $5,000 and maybe get up to a level 2 in comedy. All right, $5,000, babe. I'm gonna have to.
It's an investment in our future, Woods. Comedy school.
It's just your confidence just gets shattered you know, and you just think like, man, I clearly do not understand.
Shockwave said he had Tommy Lasorda next to him in the bathroom. Wow.
Whoa. In the stall or at the urinal?
It sounds like stall.
You know Tommy Lasorda took 49 minutes in the stall. You know he did.
You know, there were some funny noises coming out of that stall.
There is no question.
A lot of grunting.
That's not out of the list of people I would not want to crap next to. He's up there. He's in the top 10, I would say.
Just picturing it in my mind.
I can't get it out. I can't. Bavakwa. I can't get it out of my head. So, well, thanks, Adam. I'll be spun out for the rest of the day, if not week, and just questioning everything now.
So I've seen some talk in the chat. I know, Woods, you are not looking forward to the 7:10 start time tonight. Feels like it's very late. But, of course, there are Padres fans who are on the East Coast, including Ryan Cohen and others, who have to wait until 10:10 tonight for the game to even start. To even start, if you are interested in this series and you live in the Eastern time zone.
Look, there's no denying there is an East Coast bias. That's why.
You kind of get it.
That's why.
You kind of understand.
How can you possibly even be mad if people, especially if they work like morning talk shows or whatever, and they're like, I didn't get to watch much of the Padres-Dodgers game. It was 10 o'clock when it started.
It's maybe why they film all of those national shows. Well, no, Cowherd's West Coast. He's got no excuse. Stephen A. Smith, he's way out on the East Coast.
Mad Dog.
And when they start talking Padres baseball, you're like, no, man, you haven't watched the second. Maybe now I have a little bit more understanding why they don't. Because, hey, by the way, I'm not staying up till 10:10 to watch a game. I mean, we did it once.
That's to watch just the first pitch. To stay the end
yeah.
of the game, you're talking 1 a.m.
Remember the Korea series was like, it almost killed us the first week of the season. We were like, this is the worst. But, I mean, look, obviously it's a huge series. So, like, Ryan ain't going to bed till 2 in the morning. And you know how Ryan gets. Ryan Cohen in New York, he works for John Boy. Like, I'm sure they got to be there at a reasonable time. But I also, like, I know that dude, if they win the game tonight, he's not sleeping. He's just going to, he'll pull it all. Yeah, he'll be wound up. And so, yeah, it's going to be a challenge. And it's funny, it's 30 minutes later than our games start. It feels like an eternity. An eternity.
And normally, you at the most, you do it 2 days in a row, and then the third day of the series is usually getaway day. It's an early start. Not this one.
Not in L.A.
7:10, and wait for it, 7:10.
Well,
all 3 games.
This is why Death Wish coffee was invented. So, man, that was it's going to be an interesting one to be sure. But well, I do apologize to our listening audience. Apologize to Adam. I will do better. We will do better. And
somebody mentioned they were sitting next to Tommy Lasorda in the stall. I think Vincent in our chat might win. He says, I had Shaq in a stall next to me in Vegas.
My.
His shoes were partially in my stall.
His head is actually over the like, just shrinking down.
What's up? Have a good one.
That's an interesting topic. Who's the most famous person you've urinated or gone number 2 next to? So we'll take your calls next here. Actually, we got Jesse Agler coming up.
If you can top Shaq or Tommy Lasorda,
please let us know.
Give us a call.
Who's the most famous person you've seen in a bathroom?
Don Orsillo.
Joe Davis doing his eyebrows. I told you. I'll never forget it. He looked like a little devil.
We also have some more tickets to the La Mesa Oktoberfest to give away, and then Jesse Agler coming up. So stay tuned. It's all coming up. Quick traffic.
Gene Wilder. Somebody had Gene Wilder in the bath. I would want to just give him a big
Willy
hug.
Wonka himself?
He's coming. Here comes Klug again.
All right.
Hey, hold on real quick. Just keep it.
All right.
What did I do wrong now? Come on in. Did I do something wrong?
No,
again?
he's not coming in. He's refusing.
He's mortified.
Right, we'll be back after a quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The
All right, here we go. Black 17 on. That is my number. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go. Black 17 on. That is my number. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Who does number 2 work for?
That's right, buddy. You show that turd who's boss.
Yeah, that's me. I'm Tom Arnold in that scenario.
A lot of people in our chat sharing their famous restroom
encounters.
Charles Barkley.
Suge Knight. Oh, my God.
The entire cast of Game of Thrones, well, the male cast at least.
Yes, yeah, not the entire
Not the entire cast, just the male cast. It was a men's room, apparently.
Interesting. Let's ask Jesse Agler.
Gavin Rossdale, Peyton Manning. You people
Hey.
have gotten out in some restrooms with some famous people out there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, man. What about you? You make the scene quite a bit. Anybody famous?
You know, I mean, other than AJ Preller, I'm trying to think.
Yeah. Patrick?
I can't think of anybody. I'm like racking my brain since they said it, but I don't think I've had anybody in the bathroom.
Any encounters?
Yeah.
I mean, mine's like I've peed next to Jesse Agler, next to Don Orsillo, next to Mud Grant, and a fantasy camp. You know, you're around these guys a lot. You see that, but you know, I think nobody's super duper famous that I can recall. I did walk in on a woman that had her top off in the bathroom. Remember that? That happened a few months ago. Just opened the bathroom and she had her tube top. Like,
she was in the men's room.
She was in the men's room.
Yeah.
Correct. Sitting on the and I went, oh, sorry about that. And it was full frontal shot, which was a really good restaurant. It was nice. It was a great meal and great entertainment. That was a real fun one for me. That's probably my favorite bathroom experience.
Jocelyn has a bathroom selfie with Kelsey Plum.
That's amazing.
WNBA star.
That is amazing.
No, you don't ask for someone for a selfie in the bathroom,
Ooh.
right?
After everyone's finished.
Party foul.
After everyone's done, maybe, hey, you mind getting a quick pic?
I mean, it's just never everyone's done. There's a constant rotation of people.
Well, if you
coming
both finish
through.
at the same time.
I guess you and her, but there's still other potentially people. I guess if you're the only two people in the bathroom and you're both done. I still would wait until, hey, when we get out, you mind?
Yeah, let's get out of the.
That's an awkward background.
Let's get out of the bathroom.
Doing it in the bathroom is awkward.
Let's
for
get
sure.
let's get out of the bathroom first, and then as soon as we step out, then we can do it.
My colleague Steve Smith at Channel 10, he's been in the restroom with Woody Harrelson and Adam Sandler.
Oh, that's so huge!
Yeah.
Now, he probably didn't. I wonder, did you say anything to them? Hey, how you doing? Woody?
Don't know.
Who's
I
nicer
wouldn't.
of the two?
I would be very silent.
Sandler's nicer,
sure.
right? I would think so.
I think
I've
they're both
heard Adam
probably both
Sandler
nice.
is like
I have one. I
legendarily.
totally
Oh,
forgot
you got
about
one. All right,
this.
Patrick Daly, co-host for a day.
Hoffman, Trevor Hoffman.
Oh, yes.
He's the
dude.
best. I mean, it was game, home plate club.
Yep.
We were down there in the bathroom, and he comes in. It's a long line, and he's starting, all right, your turn. You do this. And you can
Oh,
tell
he's
he's trying
directing
to he's
traffic.
directing traffic. Let's go.
Oh, Trev.
Let's go. Like your shoes, you know.
Everyone's just
he
in
was
awe.
Just, yeah, he was just. He was in prime form.
That's Hall of Fame.
Bush League Blake at the winter meetings ran into Jeff Passan in the restroom. Said, "Oh, Bleep, you're Jeff Passan." He goes, "Hello."
Super good. Super good.
We got an Ariana Grande, Jack Nicholson at the Lakers game.
Oh,
wow.
that's a
good
Didn't
one.
wash his hands.
Scare me.
Did not wash his hands.
He's Jack Nicholson.
He's Jack.
He doesn't
can
have
do
to.
whatever he wants to do.
Oh.
So, sports.
I'm waiting for you guys.
Oh, by the way, Phillies clinched the NL East.
They did
yesterday, and you know what surprised me?
Me too.
First time since 2011.
Dude, they said that on the broadcast. By the way, John Kruk. Watching the game when John Kruk's calling it is like watching it with the world's biggest fan. I mean, it is so I will say, and I love Kruk. I love him. I think it would bug me after a while. Like if you were a Phillies fan and that was your home broadcast and you're watching it, I mean he gets really, really worked up about it. But it's John Kruk. He kind of do what he wants. But yeah, they clinched it. That surprised me too, Benny. Very much.
They were a wild card when they beat the Padres in the NLCS and lost to the Diamondbacks in the NLCS last year. Didn't win the division, and those were the only two times they've been to the playoffs since 2011, the last time that they won the NL East. So they raised the divisional banner. They move a half a game behind the Dodgers for the number 1 seed. But if you were listening earlier, Jeff Francoeur said the Phillies and the Dodgers might not want the number 1 seed because the number 1 seed then has to play the winner of the 4-5 matchup, which likely includes the Padres. And you'd rather maybe face the winner of could be like Brewers Diamondbacks if you're the 2 seed. And that could be a more advantageous. You wouldn't have home field advantage in the NLCS, but you might have an easier path to get to the NLCS. So kind of some next level thinking from our guest, Jeff Francoeur, who says the race to the top might actually be the race to the number 2 seed between, well, the Phillies and either the Dodgers or potentially the Padres, if the Padres can pull it off this week and sweep the Dodgers and have a chance to win that division.
Yeah, I don't, it sounds good to say and everything, but you see a team just kind of throwing in the towel to try to drop a seed in baseball.
You don't necessarily, but you definitely can rest starters.
You can definitely
use
rest
the back
starters.
end of your
Yep.
bullpen heavily and give some guys days off. That if you're playing meaningful games against other teams, you're going to probably lose those ones.
Yeah, for sure.
It's baseball. You might pick up a win here or there. You can't just rig it, but you can rest guys, and it makes a big difference. Yeah. All right, we have another pair of tickets to give away right now to the Hofbrau VIP area at the La Mesa Oktoberfest on October 6th. It's free to attend La Mesa Oktoberfest, but the VIP tickets are a little extra. It's October 4th through the 6th with kids, dog activities, beer gardens, and the VIP tickets that are available for purchase. You can go to LaMesaOktoberfest.org for details or win them right now. We'll take the fourth caller, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Paulie will answer those phone calls during the break, and we'll give away another pair of Oktoberfest tickets. By the way, Steve said no speaking. He was actually between Woody Harrelson and Adam Sandler. They were talking to each other over him in the bathroom.
So good.
That would be intimidating.
Let me just get out of the way
Yeah,
here.
Yeah.
Oh, Jake Waters said Johnny Depp at Disney World backstage when he was working. I would be very intimidated if Johnny Depp walked in. Very intimidated.
Now, thank you for sharing all your restroom encounters.
I love it.
To the tier ones out there. You've had a restroom encounter with Jesse Agler.
I have.
He will join us next. Patrick Daly, our co-host for the day, will provide the Incorporator word. Have you come up with it yet?
Oh, yeah.
He's good to go?
That's great.
All right, he's got it for the last regular season Incorporator of 2024. Jesse joins us from Los Angeles, California, when we return on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Jesse Agler currently in the beast of the belly.
Yes.
Up in Los Angeles.
Not the belly of the beast.
Not the belly
beast
of the beast.
belly.
We turn it around. The beast of the belly. Up in Los Angeles. He is standing by for the final Incorporator of 2024. And what is, kind of a big series against the Dodgers the next 3 days. We will talk with the voice of the Padres right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Guys, we are getting reports of a stalled motorcycle in middle lanes on southbound 5 near the 163. Kind of scary there. Looks like that rider's having trouble pushing it into neutral and getting it out of lane, so take it extra carefully there, southbound 5 at the 163. Also an accident still clearing on northbound 5 before Mile of Cars Way. Up ahead on the Genesee off-ramp. Stalled vehicle over to the right shoulder. On the coastline, southbound 5 near Manchester, collision to the center divide. Up ahead, crash being cleared out of the left lanes near the racetrack. Stop by into the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Drive to Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. Usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, for the last 6 months, he has joined us religiously outside of the All-Star break every Tuesday morning. And now we come to the final Tuesday of the regular season when we are joined by the voice of the Padres, Jesse Agler. Padres-Dodgers tonight at 7:10 from Dodger Stadium. Jesse, good morning to you. How is smoggy L.A.?
You know what? All I did was walk out to get a cup of coffee. It was a little cool, a little foggy. I'm sure it'll warm up as the afternoon comes about us. And then tonight, all I know is it's going to be loud, and it should be a lot of fun.
Does it feel like it passed quickly? I mean, let's see. March 20th was Korea, the first game against those Dodgers in Seoul. And now here we are, last 6 games of the regular season.
Yeah, I think it usually flies by for me, but there are obviously times when it feels like every day is a week. But yeah, like over the course of the long haul, Korea at the same time feels like 10 years ago, but also like a month ago.
Yeah,
it's weird. I mean, baseball season, it'll mess with your brain, as everybody knows. When you're there day in and day out, whether as a broadcaster or as a fan or a player, obviously, it allows you to lose sense of time, with great regularity. So, this is now the funnest of the times, of course, late September and then obviously deep into October. And this is what makes, the boring August all the worthwhile. And you stack up your wins and you put yourself in a position to play extraordinarily meaningful baseball down the stretch here.
Yeah, I mean, it's excruciatingly painful and anxiety, racking and all that too. But I'll tell you, man, this team has certainly earned a little bit of the benefit of the doubt this year, Jesse. We were talking earlier off the air about how much more fun this season has been. Obviously, last year you can just leave that one behind. But even the year before, when the Padres had a decent little run in the playoffs, it's been way more consistent, way better baseball, a better brand of baseball, a more enjoyable viewing experience, and probably a much more enjoyable experience for you guys to call as well.
Yeah, I mean, I probably said this to you 100 times over the course of the season. This is very watchable baseball.
Yeah.
And it's watchable winning baseball. Look, there is watchable losing baseball, which I guess is okay. There's not watchable winning baseball, which also I guess is okay. But this is like the perfect harmony of the two because they win and they're enjoyable to watch. And as I know I've said before, like there's not a lot of teams that fall into that category in today's day and age. And it's neat because a bunch of times over the last couple of years, Tony and I have had a conversation on the air about how, sort of in this hyper analytic age, which I think is swinging a little bit back towards the center the last 2 years, 3 years maybe. But you had a run here where it seemed like every good team was trying to or doing it the same way. And so it became very homogenous. It became very boring almost because every team kind of looked the same. And we would say, hey, you think back, I don't know, like when we were kids, Tony and I, in the 80s and 90s, and like the Braves did it differently than the 84 Tigers did it, right? Like the 90s Braves did it differently. The 86 Mets were different than the 88 Dodgers.
Yeah.
You can go on and on and on, right? Like the Cardinals in the 80s were all about speed, and they took advantage of the AstroTurf and those guys, running around the bases. Like there were different ways to win and different ways teams tried to win, back then. And now it sort of became every team was trying to model some version of the Dodgers and the Astros and kind of the way they played. And I think we've gotten a little bit away from that the last couple of years, and the Padres are probably the best example of it. And the Diamondbacks maybe to an extent also, where they're kind of built a little bit old school. Where like you might not have Ricky Henderson leading off necessarily, but like you look up and down the lineup and there's different kinds of guys hitting in different parts of the batting order. And that's fun because it's not just, 9 Kyle Schwarbers or whatever. And I love Kyle Schwarber,
I do too.
but like there is something to like, okay, cool. Solano is coming up. My expectation is different than when Manny is coming up, which is different than my expectation when Merrill is coming up. And you can really do that all the way up and down the thing. And that is part of what makes this team so enjoyable to watch is they've got that little like old school build to them. And it has obviously worked out very, very well for this team this year.
So what is Jesse Agler's take on reasonable expectations for this week? We all expect Padres to clinch a playoff spot, but going for the division, but pretty much needing to either win out or, go 5-1 and get some help. I mean, it's not easy, obviously, but we'd all love to see it. I mean, where do you kind of stand there?
I mean, it would be great, obviously, and that is the goal of this team, one of the goals of this team. But look, I have always kind of taken the view, the end-all, be-all is the World Series. And if that goes through the wild card, so be it. If that goes through the division, that's great. Winning the division would really be phenomenal. And look, the Giants 3 years ago won 107 games, I think, off the top of my head, and beat the Dodgers by a game. And thanks in part to a bad check swing appeal, they went out in 5 in the division series. And that was it. And it was over. So, congrats to the Giants in 21. They won the division. The only time in the last, 13 years that the Dodgers didn't. But, I would imagine they had a very bad taste in their mouth, coming out of the postseason because of the way it ended. So, for me, it's a little bit bigger than that, or maybe a lot bigger than that. It would be great. Don't get me wrong. And we can have the conversation about the bye versus, playing a volatile best of 3 and so on. But it would be a tremendous thing that happened. It would also mean the Padres are continuing to play their best baseball to the finish line here, which I think is a big positive heading into the postseason. But look, I mean, for me, it's about getting in and making your run. I think this team is set up to make a run. I think they are, in about as good of a position as they can be in. And yeah, you come in here and sweep this series. Okay, things get very interesting over the weekend in Phoenix, obviously. The Rockies are not rolling over for anybody. They played very, very solid baseball the last month and a half, and they gave the Dodgers all kinds of fits the other day. That series would be at Coors Field, LA, ending the season. We all know how crazy that is. Charlie Blackman going to play his last 3 games ever. He's probably going to hit 11 homers. Go get it, man. We'll see. But I don't know. I guess I'm kind of dancing around a direct answer, but for me, it's about the World Series. This is a World Series contending team. That is what I care about. The path to that is, kind of whatever it will be, I guess.
Talking to Jesse Agler here on Ben and Woods this morning. Benny and I did a Reddit AMA yesterday. I know you've done that in the past as well. I thought it went pretty well, but somebody asked me the question in there, what do you attribute the success this year to? And I thought long and hard about it, and obviously there's a million different reasons that goes into it. But I honestly think, Jesse, for me, Mike Schill deserves a ton of credit. A.J. Preller deserves a ton of credit this year. But for me, honestly, the vibe I picked up in spring training was one of embarrassment. And I don't think this year happens without last year and last year's, the weight of expectations that went unrealized. And I feel like that was such a big catalyst for driving this team this year.
I think, I don't know if I like catalyst. I think for me, it was lessons learned.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the way I look at it. Not that it was a kick in the butt necessarily so much as it was, hey, they learned some things the hard way. And this is why I say it's weird in baseball, right? Because every season is very obviously its own unique little package. Think about the extra innings last year versus this year, runners in scoring position last year and this year, 1-run games last year and this year. Clearly, totally different teams, right? But there is an interconnectivity year to year. And I do think, for most contending teams, because bad teams, whatever, put them aside. But for most contending teams, there are good and bad things that sort of have cause and effect year in and year out. This is a multi-chapter novel that we are reading right now. And it's probably something like Dostoevsky, if we're really being honest about it. It is going to be long. It is going to be dramatic. There are going to be horrific things that happen and hopefully wonderful things that happen. And if you want to say that this particular novel, this sort of era of Padre baseball began, let's call it in 2020, 2019, whatever you want. And, it's kind of going through this. You had the collapse of 21. You had sort of a weird 22 where the team then took off and had a nice postseason run that put a good taste in all of our mouths. Then you had a wildly disappointing 23. Now you're having this 24. It's all part of the same book, but it is a big, dense book. And, I think we're sort of living through all the twists and turns of this. And it's quite a ride. It really is.
Jesse, what are your thoughts on the closer situation right now? Obviously, Robert Suarez, 34 saves, nice bounce back there on Sunday. But, the questions did arise over the last few weeks of whether Tanner Scott, might be getting more shots. And he did get the save there on Saturday, the 5-out save. What do you think we're going to see going forward here, especially in the 9th inning?
Yeah, it'll be fascinating. And I don't have a straightforward answer. I think there's a possibility they run Suarez out there. And if he gets the job done, then you run him out there again. I think there's a possibility they try and get a little more creative. Don't forget that when Tanner was closing it out in the 9th the other day, Suarez was warming. So it wasn't like, they were, just giving it to Tanner Scott and saying, go and get him. Suarez was kind of at the ready there. But yeah, I think, I don't know, you have options, and that's, I guess, the good thing. And Suarez has all year long been a phenomenal team player. Remember, he's open to 5 outs. He's open to, whatever you need. And so if they say to him, hey, we're going to try and play a matchup here and do it a little bit differently, I'm sure he would be good with that. Robert's been on board with everything they've asked, which is something you really appreciate. He's also continuing to figure some things out. And that's a good reminder because I know we're closing in on game 150, whatever, but like every guy is still tinkering and still working on stuff, this late into the season and still trying to make the adjustments that will set them up for the most success going forward. So, we'll see how they decide to play it. Part of it will be matchups. The reality is, right, if it's the ninth inning and Freeman and Muncy are coming up for the Dodgers, maybe Tanner Scott is the better matchup. And you sort of look at it that way in terms of the lefties or whatever. So, they can figure it out. They can play around with it. And then, the other thing is, as we've seen with other teams the last however many years, when you get into the postseason, it's kind of all bets are off. Roles, get a little bit more blurred. The past doesn't really matter as much as the present and the future. And, you could see them do all kinds of different things if you get into a playoff situation. So I don't know. It'll be a fascinating thing to track, certainly, as we go through this final week.
It's going to be so tonight. You win tonight and you clinch a playoff spot. Celebrating in LA is going to be an interesting one. Hopefully, we get the chance to do that. Hopefully, you get the chance to call that today. And that is correct. Our only path. Just got to win tonight, and we're in. Doesn't really matter what the Braves do. Doesn't matter what the Mets do, the Diamondbacks, or any of that. We win tonight, we're in. Yes.
Yes, there is a scenario in which they can clinch in a loss. It's like a Diamondbacks and a Mets thing. Cassavell tweeted about it, I think, last night. But yes, if the Padres win, they are in tonight. So from that standpoint, it's straightforward. If they lose, there is a way they can back in today. But the Padres need to win literally one game the rest of the week in order to clinch a postseason berth. So that would be great. We'll have everything ready to go. Tony will go down to the clubhouse, do the interviews. 2 years ago, we had a blast with that. Tony did an incredible job of, kind of making his way around the clubhouse and talking to different guys. And I'm up in the booth kind of playing point guard. And I was really very proud and very much enjoyed our coverage during all those clinches back in 2022. So hopefully we got a bunch more of those this year.
Yeah, man. Four more, 4 or 5 more at least would be phenomenal.
I trust AJ Cassavell. I didn't see that math, but he does say with an Atlanta loss and one Arizona win.
Oh boy.
Padres would clinch.
Oh boy.
So.
Sorry, Jesse. It's all
right.
He spent
it's very complex with the multiple tiebreakers.
He spent a lot of time on this.
It's unfortunately, it's kind of like one of the bad things about this new system, and I think it's fine overall. I think it's kind of the right way to handle it. With the way they do the tiebreakers, and not having time for game 163, et cetera. I get it, but it does make it so that a magic number is not really straightforward anymore, which is too bad because the magic number was always this pun intended
Very
magical
simple.
thing that
Magic,
we all could do and be like, oh, 3 means 3 of our wins or 3 of their losses, whatever combination. And it was you were scoreboard watching with total clarity. And that's kind of one of the curveballs that we've been thrown with this. By the way, idea, you guys feel free to discuss. Now that every team is playing every team, how about World Series home field advantage based on head-to-head?
Oh, not decide until you know who the matchup is. That's interesting.
Ooh,
intriguing.
That is
idea.
interesting.
That could
Jesse.
so we were talking about that in Baltimore over the summer because hey, imagine if this was the World Series preview and this series could determine who has home field. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, that'd be really cool. I like that a lot. All right, we've got a guest host today, Patrick Daly. Won at the Ben & Woods Open, chance to co-host. Now, we tasked him with coming up with I guess it's the final Incorporator of the season. We're not going to make you do it in the postseason. We will still talk to you, but Patrick has it for you. Paulie has the audio. If you would rather Patrick, play it for Jesse first.
Tintinabulation.
Oh, my God. Tintinabulation. And Patrick, if you would read the definition for Jesse.
So, tintinabulation refers to a bell-like sound, like the tintinabulation of wind chimes blowing in the breeze, or church bells.
What a great word.
It's a great word. I've never even come across it before. Tintinabulation. I don't like
mission bells.
I don't like the
That'd be
sound.
easier at home.
Yeah, it'd be easier at home.
Tintinabulation of outs
for a
1
game.
and 2 as Robert Suarez comes on for the save. But you're on the road. They don't play them.
If you're my
at Dodger
neighbor
Stadium.
and you have wind chimes, I'm potentially going to break it over your fence and rip them down. I hate the sound of wind chimes.
How come, by the way, you guys have a co-host? You don't let him talk? He just reads a definition?
He's
All right, listen, this is the second
I'm
piece
here.
of criticism. We got
Man.
Adam Klug coming in here. We got Jesse Agler air checking us. This has not been a great day.
I appreciate you, Jesse. I'm just
yeah,
here.
Patrick, let's go, man. Do you have any questions? You want to know anything? Come on.
No, I'm just sitting here watching the pros, man. I'm out of my element here. I'm more of a, in the dirt desert kind of guy, and
he's not the best co-host in the business for nothing, Jesse.
Yeah, exactly.
Nope. I'll let the pros be the pros.
I can't wait for Chase Budinger to weigh in on how bad we are as hosts today. Let's make it a trifecta.
Who talks more, Patrick or Welsh Fryer? Who got more airtime?
You're the goat, my friend.
Jesse,
have fun.
Have a great series. We will see you next week, hopefully for the postseason.
Hey, enjoy the baseball games, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Jesse
We're not
Agler.
going to, so quit asking. There's nothing enjoyable about these.
7:10 tonight here on 97.3 The Fan. Sammy's Eco Water SoCal pregame show, 6:10 p.m. tonight. Now, the last hour just has to be the Patrick Daly hour after getting called out by Jesse. We also have the Reindl Report in our next segment. And as you mentioned, former NBA star and now Olympic beach volleyball star Chase Budinger are going to be with us at 9:30. Stay tuned. Still more to come on Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
People are like, you hate wind chimes? Yes.
Well, thanks again to Jesse Agler.
Yeah, thanks.
Final
program
Incorporator
director
of the season.
Thanks. Junior PD. Jesse Agler.
Tintinabulation. The sound of bells or chimes.
That's Wood's nightmare right there.
That's my nightmare, man.
Oh, man. Gonna wake up at 2 in the morning.
Dude,
It's supposed to be a pleasant, soothing sort of sound. That's why people have wind chimes, I think.
They make me nuts. Nuts.
Why would this cause you irritation? What's
I hate excess noise, as you know. So if I'm laying in my bed and the wind's blowing and my neighbor has some wind chimes, I'm going to lose my mind. Yeah, somebody said sounds like walking into a local 99-cent store.
You can make your own wind chimes, like it's a good craft to do with your kids.
Now that would be something, but I do not like that sound, man. I never really have. It's the sound for me of descending into madness.
The tintinabulation of descending into madness for Woods.
That's exactly right, man. Do you like them? Are they relaxing to you, or do you just tune it out?
I certainly don't dislike them the way you seem to dislike them. I don't think I'd want to constantly have to live with it all the time. But it's good to know, hey, it's getting windy out there. Without having to be outside. Oh.
I mean, I guess you live in Kansas. Maybe it'll help you out a little bit.
What's going to happen? Guys, the chimes are going. Let's batten down the hatches. It's getting windy. Get the plywood and the hammers out. Here comes the wind. That's not what they're for. That's not to tip you off.
James says, sounds like I'm at Grandma's house.
Grandmas are huge fans of wind chimes. Oh, man. Yeah, no excess noise for me.
So I don't want to be the buzzkill. I like to be the buzzkill.
Well, jump right into our nightmare, Ben. The water's warm today.
We've seen situations where teams that clinch and then have a big celebration kind of have a hangover day the next day, and they don't play their best. Padres can't really afford that. If they're trying to win a division title, they win tonight, they got to come back and play another hugely important game. Like, I mean, if you want to win the division, these are like playoff games. How much do you want them to celebrate tonight if they clinch a playoff spot with a win? I know you're a big, hey, celebrate it. You worked hard to get there. But how do you celebrate without impacting potentially your fitness for the next day's game?
I will be honest with you. That does throw a little bit of a monkey wrench into the whole scenario because you clinch a playoff spot. That's a big deal. We saw the Phillies. Now they won the division last night. They went real hard. Fade the Phillies today, even though those games for them mean something. But I mean, they went. It's Philly. It's what they do. They may do that after every win, as far as we know.
But they have, like Jesse said, they may not even want the number one seed.
That's
They're
exactly
fine.
right.
You know, Milwaukee celebrated hard. They lost their next three, but then again, they don't really have much of a chance at anything other than the third seed. The Padres have something very important to play for, and it requires them winning all three of these games, likely. So if they win this one, I don't know. I mean, I spray the champagne, but don't drink it.
I think they got the division on their mind. I mean, I think they're gonna celebrate, but I don't think they're. You know, I'm thinking we're not gonna go full kill here,
full bore.
You know, we're in the end game. You know, we have the end game in sight. Grading to the playoffs is great, but I think they really think they have a really good shot of winning the division.
My guess is if they win tonight and clinch, my guess is they celebrate. My guess, just my initial gut reaction tells me.
Making the playoffs is what you start off the season for.
That's kind of the first
getting there.
The first hump and getting over it. I think they do celebrate. I think you do see Toddy with his shirt off and pouring Budweiser all over his head. I think you do see it. Do I think it's right? I'm not going to be mad at them if they do, but I do think. I mean, again, we've talked many, many times, Paulie, about what a hard-ass move it would be for, Higashioka to catch the final strike, walk out, shake hands, they dap each other up, and they walk into the clubhouse, and they come out and handle business. Is it Do they deserve to celebrate? Hell yes, they do.
Of course they do.
But if they decided not to, I would go, ooh.
Like we all agree. It's a silly conversation.
As a
It doesn't-
fan?
like when you have the division still in sight, that
Right.
tells me like, hey man, job's not
Job's
even
not
close
done.
to done.
Yeah.
If the Dodgers are up 10 games, they've already clinched a division, and you're just getting the playoff spot
Yeah.
in.
Party.
That's a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just a hard-ass move.
As a fan, if I see that, end of the game, they win, dap it up,
Shake
just
hands,
to say,
well
this
done.
is it. Thanks, we got 5 more. The job's not done yet, Instead of, that would, as a fan, just fire me up,
my God,
knowing
I
these
wouldn't
guys are
sleep.
laser focused.
I think I'm definitely in the spray, don't drink camp tonight. You can spray all the alcohol you want, just don't imbibe a ton of it.
It's also a 7-10 start tomorrow, so you got time
You
to
got some
sleep
time
it
to
off, yeah.
recover. That's true. All right,
time.
so we've got the game coming up at 7:10, 6:10 pregame show. Right now, Randall Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Randall Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, this is going to be a mess tomorrow. I ain't gonna
I'm a
sleep
mess
in it all.
already, dude. I'm a mess already.
All right, gentlemen. I got to admit, there's so much reporting going on in college sports these days with conference realignment that it is completely soured on me. I don't care anymore. Wake me up when it's over.
Yeah, let me know.
Because one day this is being reported, the next day, it's actually not happening.
Yeah.
So the latest
It's convoluted.
in conference realignment is that Utah State has reportedly accepted their invitation to join the rebuilding Pac now 7, I think, right?
Correct.
Was
They're up
the
to
Pac
7
6?
teams. There was 6, now it's 7. But you need 8 to actually be a football conference. So they're 1 short.
So
I
you're
saw rumors that Gonzaga was interested in possibly joining as a
Yeah, actually,
basketball
someone reported they were
program.
joining, and then everyone said, "Hold your horses. That's not
where
official."
I'm like, I just-
but that doesn't get you to 8 in football because they don't have
They don't
football.
have football.
They're just a basketball team.
We talked to Ben last night on the live stream, and I said, well, what did you do today? And he said, I spent my entire day doing math about the Padres and figuring out this Pac-12.
Trying to
figure out the Pac-12. So break it down for me.
So-
Ben, explain it to me.
So when the Pac-12 initially invited the 4 Mountain West teams, San Diego State, Fresno State, Colorado State, and Boise State, they left open the last couple of invitations. And the reason they didn't invite more Mountain West teams is that because the Mountain West had this deal with Washington State and Oregon State, it becomes increasingly more expensive for them to steal Mountain West teams. It was smart by the Mountain West, like, hey, you're going to try to poach our teams, we're going to make you pay through the nose. So they said, let's do 4 for now, and we'll try to steal some AAC teams like Memphis or Tulane as the other 2.
None of these football programs, though, really move the needle much.
Memphis has been pretty good in recent years. Tulane's okay. South Florida was when they were looking at UTSA. But yesterday, all 4 of those said, we're staying in the AAC. They probably got some extra money, and they're going to go, we're not going. So that left the new Pac-6 in a bit of a bind. They go, all right, we got to start stealing Mountain West teams again, because there's not really other football programs that are interesting other than those teams. I mean, New Mexico State, UTEP, it's pretty bottom of the barrel after the Mountain West. So they started sending out invitations. The Mountain West, meanwhile, has countered by offering all that money they're getting from the Pac-12 for the 4 defectors, and they started offering it to teams like UNLV and Air Force to stay. And yesterday, those 2 teams announced, yeah, we're staying. And then Utah State jumped, and they bit, and they said, no, we're going to the Pac-12. UNLV then all of a sudden said, oh, no, wait, we said we were staying, but now that Utah State's leaving, we're reopening our negotiations and options. So my guess is the Pac-12's trying to steal UNLV as that 8th team, and it's going to come down. Both conferences now have 7 in 2 years.
Stalemate.
And they're both one short of an actual conference.
I mean, and again, it gets way more expensive for the Aztecs to jump, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, the Aztecs, their price is set, but for every team for the Pac-12, it's getting really pricey to buy out these Mountain West teams.
you're basically paying to leave the Mountain West to join the Mountain West. Is essentially what's happening.
And that's
Plus,
what's made it
it's
so
just
hard
made it
for me to
Plus
get
Washington
excited.
State and Oregon State.
Plus Washington State and Oregon State, which better.
Yeah, but still not like big media markets. Pullman and Corvallis.
And again, not a huge TV. It's not that networks aren't going to be going, oh my God, I'm salivating to get my hands on the new Pac-12.
But the networks do need programming.
They do.
And the new Mountain West without all those teams is not going to get a lot of interest because I don't really want to see New Mexico Air Force all the time. I'd rather see these new Pac-12 teams. So they should get more. The question is, how much more are they going to get? We still don't know what the final answer is going to be on that.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
How much say does like the NCAA have in this whole thing? Like, you're getting to this point where you can't. You're getting, you can't figure out what you're going to do.
Right.
This and that.
Almost
when do
none.
they?
Almost
They're
none.
they're
don't have the
whatever.
authority. I mean, the schools and the conferences run everything
run
in
it.
football.
So in
the NCAA was the basketball tournament. Yeah, they can make their rules and they run that, but they don't run anything about college football, so they really can't do much.
Gotcha.
But the problem for the Aztecs is every time they think they're about to take a step up, they had that Big East deal.
Yeah, man.
Boom, exploded. They're about to join the Pac-12. Boom, it explodes when they all take off. Now they got this new Pac-12, and guess what? The AAC and the Mountain West are going not so fast, and this one could go boom as well. The Aztecs are like
Such a
unlucky in
nightmare.
love when it comes to conferences. They just
I like
are
unlucky in love.
snake bit when it
Mom,
comes to the
this is the one. I'm telling you, she's different. Oh, I know you've heard this before. You don't understand. She's so great. Sweetheart, I'm telling you, please be careful with your heart. Be careful.
They're going to be middle-aged bachelors pretty soon here if they're not careful.
On the Golden Bachelor, perhaps. Oh, man.
We don't typically. This is sports related. We don't typically talk a lot about like CrossFit and these marathon type workouts and running and triathlons and all that. But my God,
I could talk about triathlons all day.
CrossFit, man.
Just
here.
the training, all
the
of it.
story here. This woman in South Carolina, a 25-year-old woman, was doing the Murph Challenge, which in CrossFit that is 300 squats, or you run a mile, 300 squats, 200 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, and then you run another mile.
Take me 6 years.
That is
Never
the
be able
Murph
to do that.
Challenge.
I can't do a pull-up, so I'm done.
Well, you can do it with the big bands. They have like cheater bands.
Cheer band.
Yeah, like you wrap them around, you stick your foot in it,
Yeah,
and it like
kinda helps pull you up.
the first time your trainer makes you do those.
Can I just get a hydraulic lift?
Pretty much, but the first time your trainer makes you do those in a gym full of people.
Well, when you hear this injury that this woman suffered, you're not gonna even want to work out ever again.
Sprained her MCL.
She was
or
in great
something?
shape.
No.
She was not like just one of us rolling out to try to do the Murph Challenge.
Yeah.
She was in good shape. She works out frequently, but she hadn't done upper body in a while.
Yeah, same.
She went so hard that essentially her biceps exploded. She was working out and said her arms were so sore and swollen the following day, she couldn't even straighten her arms. So she went to urgent care several days later when she began to lose feeling in her hands. They immediately sent her to the ER because she was suffering from, it's called rhabdo, which is short for rhabdomyolysis.
Next week's Incorporator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rhabdo. And it's when your muscle fibers are so damaged that the cells die, toxins get into your blood, it can cause liver damage, kidney failure, and even kill you. And the good news, she's going to be okay. Doctors said, you're fine. But basically, she worked out so hard, her bicep, the muscles exploded.
Human body's not meant to do that.
Yeah. Important lesson out there: don't exercise.
They saved her kidneys by cutting her arms open to reduce the swelling. It had swollen up so much, there was no room.
We've talked before, like, oh man, this person jumped out of an airplane and the chute didn't open. This person got attacked by a shark and died. This person had rhabdo and died. Those are 3 things that I know. A lot of stuff I may be hit by a bus today. Trash truck may get me. My wife may slit my throat. I have no idea. But I know a rhabdo is not killing me. I know I won't die from rhabdo. That's the more things
over-exercise.
Yeah, the more things you can cross off the list that won't kill you is a good thing. You know what I mean? Like Ben's not gonna. You're not gonna overdose on heroin. Like you know that you can take that off.
I'm waiting for the coronary artery disease from eating too much Mexican
100%.
food. That's how I'm going to go.
I've never even heard of rhabdo, but it sounds terrible.
Yeah, Christian in our chat says he's definitely heard of it. He must work out. He knows all about it. He goes, yeah, liver failure, kidney failure. It's so terrifying. And all you're just working out. Maybe harder than you normally do, but nothing that you haven't done in the past.
Let's put it this way.
It's probably pretty common in the whole weightlifter
in the
thing.
CrossFit and weightlifter. Yeah,
sure.
man. It was we did my guy. I had a trainer, and he owned a CrossFit gym, but he trained me in different ideas, baseball mostly. And but one day he goes, "I want you to come on Wednesday. We're doing our lunge challenge." And I said, "Oh, well, that sounds terrible. I hate lunges." And he said, "No, I want you to try it." And it was basically, you lunge around the building for like 45 minutes, and you don't stop lunging, and you just lunge and lunge and lunge and lunge and lunge all on the concrete, just lunging around. And
my knees hurt.
It was literally like one of the worst days of my entire life. And you get 10 minutes in, and you're like, I've got 30 minutes left or 40 minutes. It was horrible.
I can't even get off the toilet now without a grunt. Like
having
to push yourself up.
You have to install one of those bars,
the bars.
to help push you up.
Finally, a very bizarre scene in Massachusetts recently. North Attleboro, there was a rodeo happening, and 8 bulls busted through. They escaped. They busted through all the chain link fence and just started running around the neighborhood.
Like Pamplona, but in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I suppose.
Oh my God! A bulls they escaped from the rodeo. They have rodeos in Massachusetts. I did not know that.
Apparently,
They got them everywhere now.
They captured one of the bulls, and then the other 7 just kept running.
Wow!
And like people that were at the rodeo took video camera or video
Oh
footage.
my God!
Oh wow! There they go on our YouTube stream.
I mean, they are just barreling through anything in their way.
Is there audio of this in Massachusetts? Because that
Here,
is
I'll
something.
provide it. The bulls! That's what else are you gonna hear? There they go.
When you hear the Boston people doing, the Boston 25.
This could be San Diego in January. We've got the rodeo coming back to Petco Park.
They're running through the parking lot. They just jumped over the fence.
Oh no!
Oh my God!
My car's destroyed.
My car! Oh, that's great. Greatness. I did not know
Are they
had
okay? Are the bulls okay? Did they get them all?
Yes.
They did.
No, they did.
Okay.
They did. They did get them.
The Boston Bull Run.
The Boston Bull Run.
That's another way I know I will not die. Pamplona. I will never be running with the Bulls. There's nothing about it that excites me. You know you're going to catch a shoelace. You running from the Bulls would be epic content.
Yeah, they ended up getting kind of stuck behind a fence. No way out. Police and
oh my God,
caretakers were able to get in there and
shoot them with a dart.
I mean, I would think trampling is probably the biggest danger, but getting gored sounds horrible.
It's when they get you cornered up against the bill, and they're just
they gore.
I don't want to be gored.
Man. I never want to be gored either. Never.
Just
not even by Mrs. Woods, dude. I do not want to be.
You.
I don't want to be. Yeah, they pick you up and they whip you around. Yeah, maybe we don't mess with wild bulls.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't even want to be Mackenzie gored. Sorry. All right, let's take time out with that. Thank you, Paulie.
It's not even a thing.
The grades are in.
Never been a thing.
It's never been a thing. Never will be a thing.
Feels like it's a little early for final grades, but they have them.
For what?
Baseball season. ESPN.
The season's not over.
I know, but they've already put in the final grades.
Who did? Who's they?
David Shonfield. The grades are in. Padres.
You haven't even taken the final.
That's what
You're not even in the midterm. Well, you're past the midterms.
I mean, I think these should be revised at the end of the week, depending on what happens.
David's like, I need a story, and I need a story bad. I'm going to throw this out there.
I'll give you the Padres' final grade. See if you can guess it. When we come back with Ben and Woods after traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
baby.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
The week left seems a little early, but I've got him here from ESPN.com, from David Shonfield, and two teams got an A, a straight A, no minus, nothing there. Do you think one of them was the San Diego Padres? Get to that in a second. The segment of Ben and Woods brought to you by Indeed. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit. I opened it and I thought, oh, two A's. I was told there were two A's. I thought, oh, Padres could be one of those two A's this season. They were not. Who would you guess got the two A's, Woods?
Phillies?
No.
Yankees?
Nope.
No.
A- for the Phillies, B+ for the Yankees.
The Orioles?
No, not even the Orioles. The only
Guardians.
two Brewers and Guardians. You both guessed it at the same time, one and the other. The Brewers got an A, and the Guardians got an A.
If you're giving the Brewers an A, and you're not giving the Padres, who cut $92 million from their payroll.
I mean, the Padres have a better record than the Brewers. Brewers, though, did win the division title.
Yeah, look where they play.
Yeah,
Not expected, but they had a much.
The Dodgers.
And they don't play. Yeah,
and the Guardians, kind of a similar story, winning a Central Division title.
We've said it a million times. You put the San Diego Padres in the Central Division, and we would have a much easier life.
Royals and Phillies both got A-, and then the B+ were the Yankees, the Tigers, and the San Diego Padres. Got to be
So
plus.
I said B plus.
And
I didn't get many B pluses in my academic career,
Me neither.
so I would settle for that.
I thought
You're very happy about that.
they deserved at least an A minus. They pointed out that for 100 games, this was a 500 team. They were 50 and 50 after 100 games. So it's hard to give a full A to a team that for the majority of the season was flat out mediocre. Now, the second half, they've been A+. Absolutely.
100%.
A+, 100% the second half of the season. Average it all out, gets to a B+, but they said Padres appear ready for October with everything they've done, and you have to agree with that. But they weren't the full team they are now until after they acquired the bullpen pieces, and you're grading on mostly the whole season, except for this final week. I do think that if the Padres won the division, you'd have to bump that up to an A. You'd have to bump that up to an A. If they can beat out the Dodgers, the billion-dollar spending Dodgers, while slashing payroll by $90 million and making this the year they finally get it done, how could that be anything less than an A?
No question. No question.
That would be my only caveat, that they're a little too early on some
Would they
of these
give the
grades.
Dodgers grade?
Dodgers got a C.
Fair.
I think it's even a little generous. I guess they're, in first place, so it's hard to give them anything worse. But
They stacked a ton
you
of wins
certainly
early,
can't
man.
give them anything better for a team that was expected to win, 115 games, and they are still trying to hold off, the Padres in the last week of the season.
This is fantastic. Our buddy Tommy just retweeted a piece. Kevin Acey just dropped a piece talking about Michael King and how he's arguably been the Padres' best starting pitcher in 24. And there's a quote that he pulled from it. After Michael King's first start in his first season as a full-time starting pitcher, his new pitching coach had some feedback. You sucked today, Ruben Niebla told him. I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of this
Not the best
piece.
pitching coach in the business for nothing.
Michael King was like, whoa, all right. So this is how it's going to be. He's been awesome, man. Awesome human, awesome pitcher. Looking forward to watching him show up tonight.
It worked. Ruben has done wonders with so many guys.
Yep.
But, I read that piece last night, and it mentions the fact that you forget that Michael King had 9 career starts going into this year. And the shackles were only offered like the last 3 or 4.
That's right.
With the Yankees. He had virtually no starting experience, and now he's going to make it through this whole season. He's 168 innings, and shackles are off going into the playoffs.
Yeah, buddy.
Pretty incredible story, actually.
Great story.
All right, we'll finish our show today. Chase Budinger, Olympian, NBA player. What a story he is, from La Costa Canyon High School, Encinitas native. Going to join us, getting ready to come to San Diego for a big event, a little something different for us, but looking forward to it in our last segment next year with Bennett Woods on 97.3 The Fan. All right, something very unique is coming to San Diego this weekend. You've probably heard of the AVP, the Volleyball Tour pros. They hit the beaches all over California and Florida during the year for tournaments. But the AVP League, it's kind of like Live Golf version. They're like teaming up with like different franchises and coming to arenas, including this weekend, Viejas Arena Woods, where on Friday they're going to truck in like tons of beach sand right onto the floor at Viejas Arena and create a beach volleyball court indoors. And then on Saturday and Sunday, they're going to have this AVP League competition. It's the Week 3 event, and one of the competitors on the San Diego Smash happens to be Chase Budinger. Now, Chase's story is pretty fascinating. You probably caught him during the Olympics. He was a star at La Costa Canyon High School, was a great volleyball player, but was also a huge basketball player. So went to Arizona, then got to the NBA, 7-year career. But when that was done, he goes, I want to go back to volleyball. Went back to volleyball, beach volleyball, became a USA Olympian, and he joins us right now here on 97.3 The Fan. Chase, it is great to have you on back in your hometown of San Diego. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. And listen, some guys have these long playing careers in Major League Baseball, the NBA, then like Tom Brady. Now he's going on to broadcasting with a huge contract. And I'm like, you know what? Some guys really do have it all. But when did you realize after your NBA career was over, you're like, no, I can go be a pro at something else now?
I would say this was always the plan of mine, was to mess around with beach volleyball when my NBA career was done. Just knowing that beach volleyball players, you could play into your 40s and even sometimes longer, just because being in the sand is so much more beneficial for the body and doesn't break down as much as the hardwood does in basketball and those types of sports. So the plan was always to try it. Obviously, I didn't have expectations of when I switched over was to try to be an Olympian. It was mostly just to, play for fun. But when I made the transition to beach volleyball, I kind of was like, you know what, if I'm going to do this, let's really just go all in and see how far this sport can take me.
So you're pro for the last few seasons, and you qualify as one of the 2 USA Olympic beach volleyball teams. We saw the visuals, that court they set up right below the Eiffel Tower. What was
Unreal.
that? What was that experience like competing this summer in Paris for the red, white, and blue?
It was absolutely breathtaking, absolutely unbelievable. Probably one of the best venues probably ever for any Olympics. Just being right underneath the Eiffel Tower. It was even better in person. I think just walking out and being, there live and seeing how close the Eiffel Tower really is to you with a full stadium of people was just absolutely remarkable. And pictures don't even do it justice. I think everyone would kind of say that when you were there in person, you really just felt the energy and the excitement and just how iconic everything was.
Talking to Chase Budinger here on Ben and Woods this morning, and I went there for my honeymoon, and it's just one of the most stunning cities ever. Now, it's different. When you're an Olympian, they put you in a certain place. We all saw the stories coming out about the beds and the conditions. How, you were there. Like, you tell us exactly, like, was it as bad as they said? Was it better than you expected? Did you go into it thinking, oh, man, I'm hearing these stories too, and I hope it's better than they say?
I was obviously hoping that it was better than what they said, and it definitely was. I had no problems with the beds and the village and everything. I think USA did a great job of providing extra pillows and mattress toppers and things to make us feel as comfortable as possible so we could focus on competing and not worry about anything else. So definitely a lot of kudos to USA for definitely helping us out.
Now, you couldn't call up like one of your old pals on the USA basketball team like LeBron and go, hey, you got room for us at your swanky place that you guys are staying?
Did they get to stay in a swanky place too?
They
Of
stayed
course.
somewhere different, didn't they?
Yeah, they stayed at a hotel instead of the Village. And to be honest, like they needed to, just
it would've been
because
too crazy.
when they came to the Village, they just get hounded by people, and even other Olympians are always coming up asking for pictures and autographs. And they had a task at hand was to get a gold medal, so they had to really focus on that and not get hounded too much.
It's talking to Chase Budinger. So, volleyball, beach volleyball is all about, dealing with the beach, and it's kind of windy on the ocean. Bringing it indoors to an arena like Viejas Arena, how is that different? What has that been like as they've started this new AVP league?
Yeah, it's been really exciting and really cool and completely different than what we're used to. But, making it more of a event that you could come to and watch, and it's really fast and exciting and quick. And having it indoors just creates, a different perspective of beach volleyball where, you get to play indoors, you get to see a crowd, you get the big stands. It's just one court and not having to, try to watch 4 or 5 courts all at once. And it's really exciting what the AVP is doing. We're also paired up with a girls team as well, so you get that team dynamic that in beach volleyball we've never really had.
Go to avp.com for tickets. They start at $12. Again, it's this weekend. Woods?
Yeah, I just got a text, Chase, from a guy you played against. His name's John Hoover. And he said, I got a question for Chase. Ask him if he remembers making my face a smash burger in high school volleyball. And I said, well, he probably did that to a lot of guys, Hoove. You're probably not that special, but he remembers you very well.
Well, I'm sorry I did that to him back in the day.
Got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I think those plays happen, and I'm glad that he was able to stand there and take it.
Pretty satisfying feel. Like, all right, what's more satisfying? Doing that, turning my buddy's face into a smash burger, or like huge breakaway dunk? It's got to feel pretty great.
I would say dunking on someone is probably the most satisfying something.
Can't relate.
A fast break dunk is whatever, that happens all the time. But being able to like challenge someone at the rim while they're trying to contest you, and you are able to just absolutely smash it on them.
I do it to my.
That's the best feeling.
Yeah, I do it to my 6-year-old on the 6-foot goal, and it's maybe you're right. It's maybe the greatest feeling that there is known to man. Hitting a golf ball really far is a good one, but dunking on your 6-year-old over him, I know what you feel like, and I can certainly relate, and it's pretty good.
Before you go, Chase, obviously
just be careful, because that 6-year-old's going to grow up.
He's going to grow.
I know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's
a good point. All right, before you go, obviously the Olympics, pinnacle, unbelievable beach volleyball achievement. What's your most memorable basketball NBA moment?
My one moment that I always described was, I think, my first time playing against Kobe Bryant, and he was kind of my idol growing up. He was basically the only one that I was really starstruck with. So we were playing in LA, and I remember checking into the game. I actually had to guard him because Shane Battier got in foul trouble. And, he kind of taps me on the butt and welcomes me to the NBA. He goes like, hey man, like, welcome to the NBA. Like, you made it. Nice work. Job's not done. Like, keep getting better, blah, blah, blah. And then the very next play, they come down and run a play for him. And he gets the ball on the post, and he does his little move, but he gives me this elbow straight to my sternum so hard, kind of like knocks the wind out of me, and then turns around and hits his fadeaway jumper against me.
And they call him for a foul, right? No
foul.
Yeah. And then as we're running back down on the other side, he taps me on the butt again and says, welcome to the league, young fella.
Damn.
You loved it, man. You wear it with pride for sure when that happens.
That is awesome. Well, Chase, good luck this weekend. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us. Again, you can see him out of Viejas Arena for the AVP League Saturday and Sunday.
Fun.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Chase Budinger, U.S. Olympian and former NBA player and former high school classmate of Hannah and Graham Nancaro.
Do we, Adam, if you're listening, how did that go? If you want to come in and drop a grade on us, David Shonfield's given his grades for Major League Baseball. Be happy to get your feedback either now in the middle of the show or maybe after the show would be good,
Adam,
too.
you can put your thoughts together while we check traffic, and
Yep.
then we'll come back and wrap things up here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by MTS, reminding you that trolleys run every 15 minutes or better. A little relief on southbound 15 past Carmel Mountain Road. Crash has been moved over to the right shoulder. Also traveling on eastbound 56 at the 15. Accident involving a car that struck a bicyclist. Not showing if any lanes are blocked. Also traveling on westbound 52 for the 805 collision over to the right shoulder. Northbound side of the 805 before Imperial. Accident over to the right shoulder. Don't let traffic drag your day down, whether headed to the office or game day. Go the easy way with MTS. Trolleys run every 15 minutes or better throughout the day. Learn more and plan your trolley trip at sdmts.com. That's sdmts.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Cash the Ticket is the podcast to help you bet smarter. Host Mike Valenti and Jim Costa set the stage for a weekend of football with tips and tricks to help you bet confidently with a healthy dose of ball busting as well. It's just written there. Follow Cash the Ticket on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
You hated
I don't write the
saying that,
coffee.
didn't
I
you?
did, yeah. That's just a little beneath me, I think. By the way, not to steal any of Annie and Elston's thunder. They're coming up next. But if you want to check me out live or later, I'm going to be on Foul Territory talking Padres baseball at 10:45 this morning with AJ Przinsky and his crew. So you can always check that out as well, coming up after the show today. Problems?
You all right, bud?
Questions?
Failed to mention
Concerns?
that at any point.
That just happened like in the last hour. They just texted me and asked if they wanted to talk some Padres baseball.
How'd you set it up again?
They texted me.
No. If you
want to check me out on talking Padres baseball.
You, AJ Przinsky,
Kip and Scott.
Oh, all right.
Wish my name was Kip.
Kip.
Such an awesome name.
Patrick, if we want to check you out, Patrick has promised us something pretty cool. Our buddy Patrick Daly is our guest host for the day. Won the prize at the Ben & Woods Open. And you're an off-road guy, big desert guy, which I've told you many times. I do feel like I might have been put on this earth to be in the desert. I really, really love the desert. Live by the beach, but the desert calls to me. Every time I go to the desert, it makes me very, very happy. But I've never done like the off-road stuff in the desert. Part of me is afraid if I go once, I know how I am. Be like, hey babe, I just bought an ATV and a big trailer I'm going out to Borrego for the weekend. I fear that I may get hooked, and you say that's a very real possibility. But you've promised to take us out as a show.
I do,
and drive us around.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been racing off road now for almost 20 years now. So I've made a lot of friends. I've raced all kinds of different trucks and everything. But there is a pinnacle. And that pinnacle of off-road racing is called the trophy truck.
Trophy truck.
You're talking about 1,000 horsepower, all-wheel drive.
1,000.
3 feet of travel. I mean, imagine 3 feet of travel. I mean, that's 3 feet. The shocks are going up. I mean, you're looking at these things doing 100 miles an hour over, they call them whoops, 4-foot whoops. And I mean, if you've ever seen it before, it's amazing. So I've been in your world for a few hours.
Yeah.
I want to take you out to my world. I'm going to get you guys in a top of the line, the newest trophy truck and give you guys a ride. I think it will blow you away.
We're just riding. I don't have to drive.
Don't
right?
have to drive.
Okay,
just
good.
go
Probably not allowed to drive.
If I drive, I promise you I'd be going, whoops.
Yeah.
Just up and down on the thing.
Sorry about crashing your 1,000 horsepower off-road vehicle, Patrick.
So San Diego's got a lot of great race teams. This is probably one of the biggest areas of off-road race teams. I don't know if you McMillan Realty, their whole family's been racing, and I've known the McMillans for a long time now, and I know I can get this set up, and I just want to get you guys out there, and I think you guys it will open your eyes to, that we can go out and do this for 1,000 miles at a time. It's pretty amazing.
How does one live up to my standards when you go out to the desert?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like, camping is not
Well,
really
you go
my
out for the
thing.
day. It's a day trip.
You day trip and
Day
come
trip.
back.
Take
You don't
a
have
day
to,
trip.
you don't have
I
to
mean,
spend the night.
No, you don't have to
Okay.
spend the night. I don't make you stay out in the desert. Ben just terrified in
Just
his,
want to make sure.
We'll do a day trip. I
in
mean,
his
from
Dukes
here,
of Hazzard sleeping bag.
we'll take you out. It's called Placer City. It's right when you drop down the hill there off of the 8.
Yeah.
Hour and a half
Hey,
from
cut
here.
off to the, I always see the sign. You
Yep.
cut off to the left
That's
when we're
it.
driving
The
out
whole,
to spring
the
training.
little Placer City. There's a plant right there, and that's kind of
That's where
the
we
big.
get all of our plaster.
That's it. That's where all the big testing area is for all the San Diego-based teams. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's a blast. I mean, I've been, just going to the desert forever, and yeah, it's just it's a whole new world. And
I got to get a GoPro on the big guy over
yeah.
here. We'll do the
like
whole,
I said,
whole thing.
I'll bring out my UTV too and let you
Yes.
guys go tool around in that thing and just those Polaris machines, just what they were 10 years ago to now, it's incredible.
What's a good Polaris run?
You can get, 20 grand.
I'm gonna go get one today.
So and it's the thing. You walk in dealer, you can finance it.
Yeah.
It's $200 a month, and you've got this awesome off-road toy.
Oh boy,
Polaris.
Simply the best.
Simply the best.
You can get a
See?
discount
Right
on
there.
that.
Polaris
Patrick,
Factory Racing.
thank you so much
for coming in.
Thank you,
supporting
guys.
our program. Would you like to have the honor
of
kissing the Rally Roach to start the last week of the season
that's right.
here against the Dodgers?
No, he's all right.
It's been dropped
It's
many
been dropped
times.
many times.
Doesn't seem to
The thing's
affect
been all over the floor. Don't worry.
the vibe.
And our mouths.
This is
and-
it. This is the year, guys.
This is one. This is the one.
I've been a Padre fan for a long time, and I haven't felt this. This is it, and I'm feeling it. And here we go.
All right, here we go.
Let's do this.
Pass
Let's
it
do
around.
this.
Kiss the Rally Roach.
Rocho.
My turn.
He fakes it, I think. I don't think Ben actually kisses it.
I
think
kiss
he-
it. No,
I
I
think
really
he puts
do.
his thumb in front of
Well,
it.
it's been working, so I'm going to keep doing whatever I'm doing.
Okay.
You'll never know.
You'll never know for
we
sure.
will never ever know. You guys excited for tonight?
Yes.
Is excited the right word?
Yeah, I know.
Nervous.
Just nervous.
So when we called Jesse Agler, I talked to him off the air, and he goes, "What's the vibe in there? How you guys feeling?" I'm like, I said anxious, and I said, you know what? It's really not even anxious. It's just eager. I'm
fired up.
no
I love
game
it.
last night didn't help.
Killed us.
I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go. I'm so fired up.
Tonight, I'm not getting my hopes up too high in terms of, because even if you win tonight, you still got to win tomorrow and the next day. If they win, then tomorrow, Thursday, I'm going to be a wreck.
We may have to drink on the air on Wednesday, like just to calm our nerves.
And then
Maybe
you still
that's a
have to
good
get
day
through
for
the
the
weekend, which may be even worse.
That could be the Ben Woods Edibles show, which is something we've been
gonna
promising for a long time.
It's just going to be
Yeah.
every time they win, it's just going to get
Worse and
worse this week.
It's terrible, man.
Starting with today. So that's what we have to look forward to, Padres fans.
Terrible and great.
You've been wanting this forever.
Yeah, you wanted it.
They've been winning. Now you know if they win, your stress level only goes up and up. From this point all the way to the end, it just gets worse.
Woo!
That's baseball fandom for you.
Love it.
Love it. Thanks,
All right,
Pat.
that is
Appreciate
it.
you,
Thank
buddy.
you, guys. Appreciate it.
That's it for us today. Special thanks again to co-host for the day, Patrick Daly. For Paul Reindl, our executive producer and imaging director, and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Annie and Elston are coming up next. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, everybody.